Thought you missed out on the legendary Tom and Dan cruises? Well, they're back. Presenting the 2024 Cruisin' Maybe One More Time Tom and Dan Cruise. Set sail from Port Canaveral on September 12th for 3 nights of fun. Destination, Ocean Cay Marine Reserve in Nassau, Bahamas.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Get unlimited drink packages and 2 Wi-Fi connections per cabin. Plus, those drinks are valid on all private island bars. A total value of $570. Non-stop onboard entertainment awaits. A live Tom and Dan podcast and social meetups will keep you buzzing. Don't miss this voyage. Book now for the best time since you twirled in a bikini and dirty white boots on Instagram.
Britney, bitch.
All brought to you by DeWitt Law Firm, JustCallMo.com, Pyrospot Fireworks, White Claw, Sports Subaru, Villain Clothing, Celery City Craft, BudDocs.org, and Modern Plumbing Industries.
Hey, everybody. One of the things that Tom and I like to do to make ourselves famous is to re-release shows of famous people and hope that they get traction. We did it with the Jelly Roll show. We threw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's blowing. Oh, my God. He was on The Tonight Show last night. It did nothing for us, and I think that maybe 7 or 10 of you listened to it. But anyway, he's a nice, jolly man. We love the Jelly Roll. But, hey, in continuing doing more of that, a couple of you did, and by a couple I mean none of you. But you'd asked about Tom Segura and you'd asked about Bert Kreischer, 2 of our most favorite comedians and podcasters that have ever been on our show.
Yep, and we've had them in a couple times each throughout the years, and so we decided to put up a mashup of both interviews. Bert, then Tom.
Do we give him a little behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Should we give him a little bit? Okay, so the first time we had Tom Segura, great dude, super fun and awesome. And I'm not saying he's not a great dude. He is. Yeah. But then the second time we had him, he was going through that weight loss challenge with Bert. I think it was in here. And man, was he grumpy. Oh, my God, he was so grumpy.
Yeah, because I think he was starving himself to try to win the challenge at the last minute.
Exactly.
Although the first time Tom Segura came in here, we gave him a Tom and Dan shirt.
I still have the photo.
He wore it and took a selfie with it on his Twitter.
In like his hotel. No, now he's super fancy croissants all across the globe, but
and Bert is exactly like you think he is. That's not an act. He's but when he comes here, he likes to party.
The last time he was here, he took a couple of our listeners down to Gators for wings. They literally walked to our Gators and sat there and drank before his show, and they were there for like 4 hours.
Both super nice guys.
Yeah, they're great dudes.
Enjoy this mashup. We're calling it Bear vs. Bear.
Ooh,
you get it. We're also trying to piggyback off of they're super rich now.
Yeah, oh my God, their studio, it's ridiculous.
Also, if you want to become a BDM, if you're not a BDM, those are our subscribers that help our show. We are a super small mom and pop podcast business.
We're not
Orlando,
rich like
Florida.
the Bears. We're nothing.
We need your $2.95 a month. You could subscribe for $1.95 a month, or you could be a True Love BDM at $10.95. There's lots of those.
I mean, just do it. I know a lot of you have BJ's memberships to save on gas, and that's the only thing you use it for. I mean, we're less per month than that.
We've got a BDM Christmas party we're putting together. That's going to happen in December this year.
That's a good place for it.
All BDMs will get an invite.
Why didn't you just punch me in the face when I said that? I saw you give me a smirk.
I was about to smash all these lights. Also, we do BDM Appreciation every year. We started that a couple years ago.
Well, this year's going to be a little different.
We're going to give away bigger and better prizes. Yeah. We've got a bunch of things planned.
2 hot tubs. 2 hot tubs.
So we're going to try to do more and more things for BDMs. So if you want to subscribe.
See, the difference between the Bears and us is that our lives depend on this shit.
They've got movies. I think they could just coast the rest of the night. I think Bert on that arena tour, I think that he made like $5 million.
At least Segura's got his own liquid death dick box that you can buy.
He got like 20 Porsches.
Yeah, he's got a collection of Porsches. Come on.
I'm sleeping in a tent at Fort Wilderness coming up here. God damn.
And my daughter won't talk to me.
We watched them skyrocket to the moon.
They just did it better.
That reminds me. My Dogecoin really.
How's your crypto doing?
I keep looking at it. They told me I'd be rich.
That's all right. The Tom and Dan NFT is still locked in my safety deposit box where it should stay.
Enjoy Bear versus Bear, the Tom Segura Bert Kreischer special. Well, I want to talk to you a couple more things. One, about your Netflix special, which is hilarious, by the way.
Thanks.
I want all of our listeners to go look it up on Netflix
go
right
check
now.
that out.
Mostly stories on Netflix. And during your special, I don't want to ruin anything, but it struck me because me and Daniel also find this fucking hilarious, and we've talked about it a million times on our show. One time with Monique, the comedian, in which with Tone X, we started this whole thing with Ask Buck, but the show Scared Straight. We love it, and we watch clips of it all the time. And one of our favorite clips is there's an inmate that pulls out some fucking powdered,
it's like sugar, right?
Like sugar that you
like
put
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. It was the Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid one. And we always laugh because it's fucking, middle school kids, and they're fucking sexually harassing them, and they're like, put this on your lips, and he's making the kid put Kool-Aid on his fucking lips, and the kid's a fat middle schooler, and this dude is a giant black dude, and he's yelling at his face, and we're fucking laughing so much. God, it's the best fucking show, and I wish they could never get away with it now. We're too sensitive of a country.
Well, that episode's not that old, though.
I know, but between the 90s
That's
and
early 2000s, right?
I
Middle
think later
2000s?
than that. Yeah.
What, 2005 maybe?
Maybe even later than that. I mean,
really?
the comb my chest hair one, where the inmate gives the kid a brush, and he's like, comb my chest hair. I mean, that's not cool to do. No. To a middle school.
But no,
kid.
do you think they could do that show now? I think we're too much.
You can't get away with that. I've always said that. I've always had this joke that you guys have fucked it up. If I wanted to drive around in a van and literally, because I'm a good person, hand out fucking candy to children at schools when they let out.
You should.
You motherfuckers have ruined it. Like, I should be allowed to do that without people going like, oh, this guy wants to fuck those kids. Like, no, I just want to give them candy because I'm rich and I'm bored and I have this rad van I want to drive around in.
I feel like you're like setting up your defense now.
Like, check out.
You're like this episode is going to be evidence.
It'll never go
years.
that far. Like, after I'm done, I drive home. I'm hugging my wife and my daughter. I'm like, I'm a happy dad, but I'm like, hey, you should have seen their faces when I gave them the candy in the rad van,
dude. But the thing is, the only one that really stands out of Scared Straight is the one I reference in there.
Yeah.
That one, if people don't know, you can see parts of it on YouTube. It's called Scared Straight 99. It's uncensored, and they aired it uncensored on MTV, which is really crazy. And it absolutely blows away anything that they've ever aired on A&E after that. Like, it's night and day. You can order the DVD of it. It's like $100. It's worth every fucking penny. It's the most entertaining.
Is it better than the Leah Remini Scientology show?
Oh,
that shit's blowing my mind right now.
It's unbelievable.
A&E's going hard. They don't care about the lawsuits. Apparently, they're like, fuck it.
No. I mean, if you want to see a lot of kids cry.
And like, you're like, how did anybody think this was cool? Even though they're fucking around with like,
but
kids
did it help the kids? Is what I
no, it didn't.
Dude, this one inmate, the same guy that I talk about, just calls this one guy a big sloppy fat motherfucker the whole time. It's a kid. It's a kid. He's like, get this big fat sloppy motherfucker away.
But he really paints a picture. Like, you can. I know what that kid looks like.
I see him.
It's just I couldn't. It's
vivid.
If you were like, what's the funniest thing in your mind is giant inmates that are in jail for life,
murderers,
yelling at punk kids. I mean, it's the funniest fucking.
It is.
It's the best scenario.
Kids that think they're tough.
Yeah.
And then like I remember that one of those inmates is talking shit to this guy, and as he's talking shit, his spit comes off of his mouth and lands in this kid's face. As he calls him a faggot, faggot like that, and then spit hits him in the face, and he's like, "And I know you don't like that shit. I spit in your face." And the kid's like can't do anything about it,
The worst beating I ever took in that lounge. I walked in on a Friday. Friday was like when the lounge was thick, and Damian Burdick ran it. He was the most hateful human being. Damian had a fucking it was like he was a closeted gay dude, like this vendetta against fucking humanity. And I walked in, and he just starts lighting me up. Fucking losing your hair or whatever, fat fuck, and this and that. And then I go, hey guys. I go, you know what? You're supposed to be my friends. I go, wouldn't it be nice if we walked in here and we made each other feel better about ourselves, and then we could walk out with a little bit of self-esteem? And they're like, good call, sit down. And so I sit down, and they hold me down, and they fucking destroyed me for an hour. I missed my class. They wouldn't let me get up, and they're like, you fucking teeth look like shit. Your breath smells. Your girlfriend fucked your best friend and gave you the clap. You dirty dick motherfucker. How dare you? And you got a small dick. I bet you liked it. And you're like, oh my God. And you're like, hey, what's Hartley's cum taste like? I'm like, motherfucker.
They're just going crazy.
Destroying me. And I was like, I will never stand up for myself again. You got knocked out by Cornegliano. You fucking stumbling around campus crying, unconscious. You fucking cunt. I was like, this is the worst.
He did get knocked out.
I got knocked out by Cornegliano.
For what?
For writing a song
about his girlfriend.
Do you remember the song?
He's playing the guitar. He's writing a song.
It was to John Cougar's Pink Houses.
Little Pink Houses. Yeah.
But ain't that America? The worst part is the guy that fucked my girlfriend. I told everyone had HIV.
Oh my God.
Bert.
I was like, his name is Hartley. HIV. His name is Hartley. King of BD, baby. His name is Hartley.
And then did he knock you out while you were playing that? Or
yes.
No.
Well, you were warned never to play the song again.
I was warned. The warning was the knockout. Like, when I got knocked out, I was like, maybe that was a bad idea.
Well, where did he knock you out at?
I didn't even say anything bad.
He knocked him out in the same place he took a shit in the pizza box. Everything happens right there.
That was, and then I got knocked out. It was finals that week, and I tried to go to class, and I was like, I'd had a hardcore concussion, and I just ended up sitting in the middle of the lawn, going, where the fuck am I? And then I just got really confused. I started crying, and some Pi Phi walked by me and goes, Bert. And I was like, is that me? She's like, are you okay? I was like, I don't think I am. Can we go to the hospital? So I went to the hospital.
Yeah. Do you know if this kind of thing, if these things?
So you met Will Smith.
Yeah. Let's go back here. Let's go back to meeting Will Smith. So did you?
How did you dress that day?
Did you think to yourself, I'm just going to be myself, or did you think to yourself, I have to act like the person Will Smith wants me to be?
No, I knew. I still do this a little bit in my life, but like, the word likable never came across until I was in there used to be a television network called was it TNT? Is that
TNT?
Was that the one that went, or TNN? TNN,
the Nashville Network.
I think so. Yeah, I think. And I did a show, and I tested, and this very nice lady said to me, "We're not going to pick up the show, but we want to work with you." And I was like, well, why would you do that? She goes, listen, you should know you test through the roof. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you're very likable. Everyone likes you. And I'd never heard that until then. I was like, oh, I'm likable. Okay.
My fraternity brothers didn't think so.
Damien doesn't like you.
Yeah. and so when I met Will, I just was like, and I still do this, I kind of like customized myself for him. Like, I knew what he'd like about me. Like, I knew that I had family in Philly, that the first time I ever heard him was in Norristown, that they told him he was local, and I always felt like I had a kinship to him, that I love hip-hop, that I love certain types of hip-hop, and I wanted his insight on hip-hop, and then I was a fan of all the old school hip-hop, and who he started with, and what his influences were, that I liked the song Nightmare on My Street, and that was my favorite song to drive to high school to do, and that I think arguably that's his best work ever. Like, and so this is how, when I met him, I just told him all that. And he, at the end of the hour, he was like, I like you. I was like, I like you.
Yeah.
Let's kiss.
And he was like, what are you doing tonight? I go, let's go. I don't know. I go, what are you doing? And he goes, let's go to the movies. I was like, okay. And so I left, and I was like, I called my dad. I go, it was like when you had those brick Nokia phones, 600s or whatever, and they burn your cheek. I called my dad. I go, I'm going. It went great. And he was like, really? He was like, buddy, this is great. What did he say? I said, we're going to the movies. My dad goes, on a date? I was like, no, I don't know. My dad goes, oh, buddy, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what? And he was like, I think he wants to queer you. I go, what? And he goes, it's very popular in Hollywood. These guys have so much ass that from women that they didn't say ass, but he said they have sex with so many women that they get bored of it.
Yeah, there's rumors about it, especially in hip hop. Yeah, there's rumors about Diddy, Tupac, stuff like that.
That the only thing that really turns them on is to find a straight man and turn them out, like get them to do like suck and fucking. And I was like, Dad, that's impossible. And I remember my dad going, I was in a taxi. He goes, what's more likely? The fact that you're so talented that the biggest movie star in the world wants to do a sitcom with you, or that he's tired of pussy. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do?
I like how even your dad.
I also love the term that you said something that is echoing in my mind. It's something that my dad would have said. The term, I think he wants to queer you, is such a dad phrase. Like an older, like my dad, he's not with me anymore, but like that's something that they would have said.
Oh, that's the way. I mean, it wasn't hate speech back then.
Yeah.
That was him telling his son and giving you a heads up. You may get fucked in the ass tonight.
Yeah.
But I go, what do I do? He goes, you show up. Paycheck. I've been in a lot of sketchy situations. I'm just giving you a heads up. He goes, I don't want you rolling in not knowing what could happen. And so I was like, okay.
What a caring father.
And then I put on overalls. I swear to God.
Harder to get off.
I put on overalls I used to have this green sweatshirt that I'd wear with overalls, and I look kind of frumpy. And I was like, I don't want to, roll in with like hot short shorts.
yeah. You're wearing like Richard Simmons.
I'm good right now, thank you. And so we roll in. I go to Planet Hollywood as we're supposed to meet up. I say to the girl, I go, is Will Smith here? And even when I said it, I went, this sounds ridiculous. Is Will Smith here? And she's like, no. She's like, this is Planet Hollywood. Like, yeah.
Like, his wax figure. Or the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's clothes that are in the glass case, but that's it.
I go, can I wait for him? And she was like, knock yourself out. I go, we're supposed to see a movie? She goes, there's not even a movie theater here. And I was like, okay. So I just sat there, and then all of a sudden this dude, Charlie Mack, 6'5", 350, there's a song about him on Will's first album. Just sticks his head in the waiting room, looks at me, and he goes, you Bert? I was like, yeah. And he goes, downstairs. I'm like, I gotta fuck this guy too? It's gonna be the longest day of my life. I walk downstairs, and there's 10 black dudes. There's 10 black dudes sitting in a room probably a little bit bigger than this, with red curtains everywhere and a folding table in the center. And I'm like, all right, I gotta have sex with these 10 dudes. Charlie Mack, Will Smith. I'm sure he's bringing Jazzy Jeff. I was like, this is gonna be the longest. I'm doing the math. I go, do you start with Will, give him the honors of breaking me out? He's the one that brought me here. And so I don't make eye contact with anyone. I just post up to the wall, kind of stare down on my toes, and don't make eye contact with anyone. Will Smith shows up. I swear to God, with Jazzy Jeff.
And you're like, see, I knew it.
In my head, I'm like, shut up, I'm fucking Jazzy Jeff.
Now you're excited.
I'm like, Jazzy's got the sunglasses
Yeah, he's smooth. He's smooth.
Looks like Jazzy Jeff. So he's like, guys, this is Bert, and everyone loses their mind. They're like, oh, and they all start walking to me. And I'm like, all right, do I get on a knee? Do I start blowing it out?
How do you want this to work?
And then the curtains open behind me, and there's a beautiful private movie theater behind us, and Will goes, grab us seats, I'll get us drinks. He got us Long Island iced teas and shrimp, and we sat in the middle, dead center, and watched American Pie, and it was great. And then at the end of the movie, I said, he was like, what did you think? I thought I was getting tested for my comedic sensibility, and so I was trying to
analyze
it and what I liked about it, and this is what's great. And then he goes, no, what did you think about the room? I was like, it's beautiful. He's like, no, the people in it. And I go, they're black. What do you like?
Right.
He goes, no, you said you're a hip hop fan. Look around. That's Kool Moe Dee. That's Biz Markie. It's Big Daddy Kane. And I'm like, I could have fucked Kool Moe Dee. Are you shitting me? But yeah, and
you didn't recognize because you just didn't.
I thought I was going to have to fuck him. But what's so crazy is he
no
said
eye contact. Remember,
and this is the part of the story. If Will remembers it at all, this is I always say that if anyone remembers this, I always have stories that I go, no one's going to fucking remember it, and they may not remember it the way I remember it.
That's called Tremonti syndrome, I believe.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And so, but the one thing he will definitely remember is they asked me to go to the movies the next night too. They did this every night. They'd go to the studio, then they'd see a movie at Planet Hollywood, and they asked me to go to the movies the next night, and I didn't go because I was afraid. I was like, look, I got away one night. They're probably going to fuck me.
Yeah.
And he was like, I remember we went into a meeting at NBC, and he's like, he stood me up. Can you believe that? Who stands up? Will Smith. And I was like, And I guess in theory, I have social anxiety, so I just didn't show up because I was like, I don't know, they didn't call or no one. What am I just going to walk in?
Yeah, you felt like maybe you weren't really invited. You're like, I don't know.
Is it a real invite? And he was like, but I guess from his perspective, he was like, this guy's living such a life that he doesn't go out with Will Smith. I can't wait to hang out with him. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I guess it was a good thing, but I have no idea. Will's a great guy. I hope he hears that story kindly. He called me one time. I was pitching a movie. The movie ended up becoming Get Him to the Greek, but it was with hip hop. It was a young hip hop star and an assistant agent.
Okay.
That's the idea that I was pitching. I pitched it to Disney, and I guess they reached out to Will, and they're like, this guy, is he cool? And Will was like, hold on, what's he pitching? And Will called me. I was in the car, and he's like, Bert, it's Will. And I was like, Will who? And he goes, Will fucking Smith. and he was like, how dare you pitch a movie and not call me up? And I was like, what? And he was like, dude, I thought we were friends. You call me up. If you want to sell a movie, I can help that happen. Yeah. And I was like, okay. He was like, come in, pitch it to JL, and then let's take it out. And I was like, thank you. And so I went in. JL is James Lasseter's his partner, producing partner, and I pitched it to him, and then we took it out. We almost sold it to Disney, and then at the last minute they were like, whatever. Nick Cannon was attached, and Nick Cannon backed out. So,
man.
So, Tom, I want to find out because I know, but Bart said you started the whole, calling him fat, and then it escalated into this gigantic thing where it's
out of control.
We had listeners, emailing us before Bart come in, tell Bart he's fat, blah, blah, and then I was like, what?
Yeah, we did.
What?
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit.
Your presence is strong, my friend.
Dude, it became this, and then...
Fuck with him, tell him he's so fat. Segura's fit. And I've never... What the fuck are you talking about?
And I've never seen such a thing happen from, obvious, you guys talk about it on your show. It's hey, we're just fucking with each other. But people, your fans, his fans, I feel like there's a huge crossover, too.
Sure.
And, all the listeners, and they're just playing along with it. And how did you, obviously, did you even think it was going to get this big?
No, not a chance. I really started with... We're just, we've been friends for a long time. He's always busted balls. We've always done it with each other. His joke has always been something like, I walk in the room, he's like, oh, sorry, there's no more sandwiches left. Sorry. Something like that. Yeah. And quick, hurry up and eat, guys. So, but then, he gained weight over the last, whatever, right? 4 or 5 years or something.
Hours.
Yeah. So I just I think the way that it actually started was that I went on morning TV, and when you do morning press, they always are. You get to give them questions,
and you love morning TV.
Oh, it's so fun.
We know that. Yeah.
Oh God, I want to ask you about that next.
It's so fun.
I followed your career enough to know that you love that.
It's a blast, man, and it works. It really drives people to that.
That's what Tom said. Tom said you would say the majority of the people that come out to see you all heard about you. Yeah, thank you.
So
I have a big morning news following.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Really? You do?
A lot of people getting ready for work seem to enjoy my comedy. Yeah.
I did one of those shows, and usually they go, what do you want us to ask you? So really what they're asking for is do you want us to set you up on a bit of yours?
Yeah.
What do you want to burn?
Burn some bits.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they go, well, is there anything we can ask you? And people will say things like, oh, I just had a kid. Ask me about that. So I'm telling the producer lady, what should we? I go, ask me why Bert Kreischer's so fat, and. Instead of being like, what? She was like, okay.
She's a gamer.
Yeah, she was a gamer.
A gamer or just a robot that's just lazy?
No, I think she was game for it.
Oh, okay.
She was like, oh, okay.
I mean, at least it's got some meat.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if I asked you that and you were like, well, ask me about the kid thing.
Yeah.
No, there's really no meat there.
Exactly.
Everybody has kids.
To my surprise, midway through this conversation, she goes, oh, I got to ask you something. And then she goes, why is Bert Kreischer so fat? So she said his name wrong. Then we played it on our podcast. And I just told everybody, ask Bert, when you hear this podcast, why he's so fat. Dude, they destroyed his social media everywhere.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram. Yeah. I mean, you would go, any post he made would have not 50, but 300 plus comments of why are you so fat? Why are you so fat? You're the fattest.
It still is. I mean, even when we had him on the show, it was I even posted, I was like, hey, thanks to Bert Kreischer for stopping by and giving us an hour. First comment's like, Water Champ says, you're a fucking fat ass. Fuck you. And I'm like, wow.
I think what happened too, we were talking about it, was that we essentially gave an audience not just permission, but encouragement and the formula of what the joke is. So it's like, hey guys, you want to get in on a joke? Here's the joke.
Yeah.
And then people go, oh, I can run with this joke now. And it's like they got the formula and they ran with it. And then
it's like you took an inside joke and put it outside.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now everyone has an inside joke.
And it's
but
great.
Tom, with your own podcast, there's so many like inside jokes that you're listening, and we noticed that too in our podcast. Like we have a ton of inside jokes, and we make shirts out of them, and then those are the ones that sell the best. Like people love like this fucking shirt that I have on now.
Yeah,
it's finger tongue dick.
Yeah.
That's the order of a man discovering what he's gonna
with anything.
Like if there's a knothole in a tree, finger starts, then you put your tongue in it, and you put your dick in it. Like everyone knows that.
It's a transition of men exploring things. Anyway, and then it just became a thing, and everything's like hashtag FTD, and this is 8 years ago, whatever it is, and it just stuck with that. And you've done it with like just glassing on your show and all these funny fucking phrases, and then it's for some reason in the podcast community people love inside jokes because it's an inside thing, you know?
Right?
And so once that blew up, like now there's T-shirts and stuff. Like this has become an enterprise, and I feel like it's like thousands of dollars generated by just you calling Bert fat one time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a huge thing now.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. And then now we have like real stakes in this weight loss competition.
What are the stakes? Just to outline them for our listeners.
So Ari Shafir was like, I looked it up and you guys are both obese. So he did the smart BMI, and we were like, he's like, you guys are so obese and it's disgusting. And he goes, you guys should try to get just overweight, right? According to the BMI index.
The just overweight challenge.
Yeah. So the stakes are that we're supposed to weigh in January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So that the idea behind that was that so you couldn't just do some weight cut the night before. And it would have to like maintain. So we do that. If we are both under obese for our size, Ari's considered the one who's paying, right? If I win, Bert is paying, like if I'm weighed less than him, and if he weighs less than me, I'm paying for a trip to a sporting event or concert of choice. You have to pay for all the tickets, all the accommodations.
That could be bad, man.
And the loser also has to shave his beard because we both have beards.
Whoa! And I saw Bert not even 2 weeks ago.
Looks terrible.
Doug Loves Movies in Tampa.
Yeah.
You're going to win.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to win really. You look really good.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm looking at the way your shirt is collecting around your midsection.
Yeah.
You're going to do just fine, I feel.
I think so, but he's also one of those freaky guys where Bert, he's one of those guys that's like, I'm just not going to drink for 3 days, and I'll run 10 miles, and he'll drop like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Like Tom. Tom's like that. Tom,
I get alcohol bloat.
One time.
Like, I've had to stay consistent.
We used to do CrossFit together, and I would be drunk when I did CrossFit, and then I'd pull off the side of I-4 and puke. And this guy, like one time, an old lady challenged him like a plank contest, and he held a plank. I swear to God, you held a plank for like 35 minutes. And he was, he's fatter than ever, but he held because he had the fortitude.
Yeah,
he was not going to let it go.
That's Bert. Yeah. So if he wins, by the way, I think I've taken him to the Super Bowl.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Bert Kreischer is hanging out with us. Thanks again to Dan Briggs from Between the Buried and Me for hanging out.
Super nice guy.
Yeah, super duper nice. Okay. No, Lee, what are you doing?
He pulled me a spoonful. I was like,
get out of there.
Green powder. I was like,
don't put that on the camera.
No,
Lee,
what are you doing? It's almost illegal.
I had the Well-Read Comedy Tour. It's the redneck comedy guys.
Yeah.
I had them on my podcast, and they were talking about Kratom.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And they were like, dude, it's changed my life. Because I think one of the guys had some...
It gets you off of pain pills.
It helps people get off pain pills.
But I don't want to get on...
But my first question
is... If you work it backwards, doesn't it seem like it's getting you into pain pills?
Well, that's my thing, is like people go like, I love Kratom because it got me off of pain pills. And I'm like, well, why do you want to get off pain pills? I love pain pills.
Well, the thing is, because it's...
I love your angle of this. You're like, wait, why would you want to get off pain pills? They really work.
I mean, it's like saying,
For rich people, it's
you know
cool.
what's great? Like here we have like, what's the best car in the world? What's the best car in the world? In your opinion?
Right now, the car I want.
Yeah.
I want.
Do you want a Tesla?
No,
one of those
a
guys?
Tesla would be nice, but I kind of want the big body Mercedes.
Okay, I was going to say
big
Mercedes.
body Mercedes.
So we
It's a
have the
luxury
Mercedes
car.
here, but then I can give you a Jaguar. Well, why would you want the Jaguar when you could have the Mercedes? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the pain pill buzz is. Should we be talking about this?
It
on the
ruins
radio?
your life, though. That's the problem.
No, it doesn't
ruins
have
people's
to.
lives.
You and I do pain pills occasionally, and it doesn't ruin our lives.
Well,
At least I don't
you,
think it does.
You have to keep it between the lines, and
Yeah,
that's the
you
problem.
have to. That's with everything.
Prince-
Driving.
See, the problem-
marriages.
Prince died off pain pills, like Prince.
Prince who?
the
Prince
Prince.
Fielder.
Oh.
Prince Fielder.
The Prince.
Prince Fielder died.
It got him.
Tennis rackets. I think with this is how I live my life. Now listen, I am a man that lives in excess. I drink a lot.
Yeah.
I
But
party a lot.
You look younger and more svelte than you ever. You look amazing.
I work out really hard also, but I
Yeah.
also believe this. When I have, and we've talked about this previously on podcasts, but when I have those times when I'm shaky at an airport on Sunday and not feeling good, I believe that you have to sit through it and stick with it and feel that pain, because that you earned that pain. You got to be a big boy. You don't get to go, I'm just going to take a pain pill and make this go away, because then that starts the slide.
Yeah.
That's
I like the
difference
voice you
between-
did for that too.
It's called big brain.
It's called the Dan Briggs.
I got an idea. Let's take a Xanax and take a hit of a joint, and this will all disappear.
Yeah, no, you're right. You got to accept the consequences of
Wait a
your
minute.
actions.
You have to work out later.
I already canceled it.
I work out in the morning. He works out at night. It's like Jack Spratt and his wife.
I thought.
I work out in the morning.
I thought. Here's the problem is that one time.
You know what I like to do? I like to get loaded, and
Yeah.
then I would for a while I'd get loaded, and then I'd go do these boot camp workouts. And then, like, you know, like where
Yeah,
you're like,
no, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
nonstop.
yeah.
You're like doing, it's like, go hold that plank for 4 minutes, you piece of crap.
One time I worked out like last week after I went out to actually see Dan Cummins. We went out to the comedy club. I drank a lot, and then the next morning I thought I was in my 20s again. I'm like, I feel horrible, but maybe if I work out, I drank a smoothie. I went to work out. I worked out, and then I got home.
Our
and
trainer said you died.
I couldn't talk to my wife. And I was like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I need some time."
His chest
and then I'm
hurt.
laying down.
He's
And
laying
then-
on the bed.
and
You know
then
what I like
she's
to
like,
do?
"I'm
I
going
do
to
the
take you to the
boot
hospital."
camps. I do the boot camps, and then when I get done, I drive down our interstate here in Orlando as fast as I can, and then I'm like, and then I pull over and I puke blood.
Dude, I hardcore. I have a problem in that I go to those boot camps or CrossFit. I was doing CrossFit.
Oh, that's hard.
But
That's hard.
I threw up. I was throwing up at every CrossFit because I don't have that. I got what they call a Mickey Mantle gene, where I believe I'm a champion. So when I watch the guy cheating and they go, "We got 5 minutes, finish up your burpees," I go, "I'm doing this. I'm murdering this. I'm going to push myself to the next limit, and I can get past that and then throw up." And I've thrown up probably 10 times at CrossFit. I had to stop going to CrossFit because my wife didn't want me to get esophageal cancer.
I like nausea. Like I
you're throwing up so much.
like feeling like I'm going to puke. Like I drink so much caffeine. Like I'll drink 12 16-ounce Diet Mountain Dews, and then I'll puke in a trash can because I like the feeling of having to puke. I don't know why I like
I
it so
hate
much.
the feeling of puking.
Really? He hasn't puked in 9 years.
It's
now.
been 12 now.
12 years.
12 years. It's
Really?
a weird thing. Yeah.
I haven't been pulled over in.
I saw that on your Twitter.
Yeah,
I've been pulled over in 15, and Trevor Noah's been pulled over in 10 times.
I saw
in 6
that.
years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and he lives in New York where you don't even drive.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that's crazy.
Bert, let me ask you this, because I deal with this all the time. If we're, like now we're on radio, we're just who cares?
We can't air it out
But-
anymore. We just
but-
did 3 full hours with Bert. And
Yeah, if you want, go on TomandDan.com. Go on there.
TomandDan.com.
Okay, so I deal with my wife with this all the time because now we got kids, and I'm just like an average nerd dad or whatever. We do this show, all this stuff, and But I'm the same way with you. It's like we were asking Dan Briggs, like, how do you turn your brain off at night? And I have a problem with that. And
he can't. His answer was he can't.
I know, but I can't accept that. I'm like, okay, well then I'll use alcohol or use THC or some other anything. Like just to
how about melatonin? You ever?
That's nothing.
You ever done that? No, the nightmares you get from it though are awesome.
Have people come to you and your wife or anybody else been like, oh, you really should stop drinking and you shouldn't do this? No,
my wife's got a good. My wife's a good barometer of that. Like she always says, I had her sit in on my therapy the other day, and she was like,
"Never have your wife sit on your therapy."
Dude,
I had it. I did it. I did it one time, and I was like, "Never again."
She was like, I'm not my problem is I'm not a bad drunk. I'm not a like mean drunk. I'm not a hurtful drunk. I just become more fun.
Yeah.
Which is problematic
because everybody wants you to be drunk.
But once again, I have that same vibe of like, you know, if I get way too drunk one night, then the next day I punish myself so I don't drink. Okay. So like perfect example. I get off the road. I was talking to you guys about being shaky off the road this past weekend.
Yeah.
Monday morning I woke up and I put on a sauna suit from Target and I got on my spin bike and I put it out in the valley that's 98 degrees at the time, and I just I cycled for 45 minutes and punished myself so that I go, oh, okay, so that's what happens when you act like a bad boy.
Yeah.
You want to be a bad boy?
Hey, you sweat it out.
When I get drunk, the worst thing I did, I got drunk and then I burned all of my wife's throw pillows and her sandals in a big fire I had up. Do you remember this?
Chimenea.
Yeah, I had a chimenea.
I love this idea.
And I stuffed all her, like, you like these? Oh, I almost cursed. I was like, you like these throw pillows? I was like stuffing them in there, and there's just a plume of black smoke. And then I stuck Orlando Rage. We had a
XFL.
XFL. Remember when?
Yeah, I played for the Los Angeles Avengers.
Are you serious?
Yeah. For a day, I got destroyed. You can find it online. Whatever.
Yeah, because I burned that. I burned her sandals. I burned everything in this chimenea, and it was just so fun. Like, there's nothing more fun than burning things. But then I proceeded to go into the room, and my drunken stupor took a turn where it was all fun until I got into the bedroom and my wife was mad at me, and then she started crying. And then I picked up my dad. He died about 7 years ago. And I picked up this attaché that he had, and I picked it up. It was like a pole where you put like your coat, and then you put like your shoes and your cufflinks and your watch and everything. And I picked it up and I proceeded to use it as a baseball bat, and I destroyed our bedroom. And that.
By the way, if my wife witnessed this, she might be like, "Yeah, maybe you should quit drinking."
That was the thing. And my wife's like, "Quit drinking." I was like, I'm a fun drunk.
Yeah. The worst I've ever gotten is one time I got into a fight with her best friend. I was drunk, in all fairness, and her best friend said that she had tried to commit suicide, and I was like, apparently when you hear that, you're supposed to go, it's suicide, yeah. But I said, how? And she was like, well, huh? I was like, how? Like, how? You're still here. Like, how did you mess it up?
Yeah.
And then she was like, I tried to jump off a cliff. And I was like, how did you mess that up? Like, that pretty much works.
Yeah.
Like
100%
That's the one. That's the one you need.
There's like the fail ratio is pretty low.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you start from like 10 feet away from the ledge and tried to like,
that's not really trying, by the way.
Yeah. Like, wait, did you catch onto a branch or did you fall onto a ledge? She was like, at the last minute, I decided not to do it, and I could not stop laughing because I was like, "Yeah, we've all been there. Like, yeah, we've all looked over a cliff and be like, I could jump right now, but I'm not gonna."
Oh, I stood at the edge of a cruise ship 1,000 times. I'm like, "Oh, if I jumped off this thing,
I love that. I love thinking about that.
I'll watch the cruise ship go away.
I'm hypnotized by it.
I want to do a game show. So what we do is I talked to this to Cowhead because I did his cruise. What I want to do, you go on, you get $100. Okay, buy in for $100, and you. At every point of this cruise, you have a life vest with a beacon on it, okay? And the goal is last person standing on the cruise ship that hasn't thrown someone off. So you see,
you have to throw somebody.
Yeah. That's the fun. Is is you got to get them all. Like it's like Survivor, but legit.
But you got to be like big, right? Because like I would lose. Like I can't throw you or Tom off.
That's where the gameplay comes in. You've got to figure out how you stay on that ship. Do you stay in your room the whole time? Because you do want to win the money, but you do got to get other people off. You can't if it's just.
Oh, maybe there's an alarm on your room where you can only stay in there a certain amount of time, and it's like door opens and you're fair game now.
I just think it would be fun to try to get rid of a body on a cruise ship. Like I was on a cruise with my wife, and I was like, I bet I could get rid of her. I bet I could easily get rid. And then no one would ever know, and you can never get prosecuted.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. It's crazy.
Remember that guy? Fell off and he hit like an awning and there was like a blood stain.
Yeah,
and they never
his
found
wife
him.
may or may not have thrown him off.
And people get hammered. All you got to do is get her hammered. Yeah. Bill Cosby her. She's at the bar like, rah, rah, rah. They're like, she's annoying as crap.
Oh, listen, my wife freaks out every time we do the Tom and Dan cruise.
Well, you can't even bring your kids. I brought my daughter on the last Tom and Dan cruise that we did, and she had a blast because, my wife stayed with her. And they have so many activities for kids. They've got like turtles that spray water and fish that swim in a whole playground.
Those cruises. I'm obsessed with cruises. I told you.
You like them. A lot of people hate them. I like them too.
Who hates cruises? Then they've never had Guy's Burger. Fieri has a burger bar that is so monstrous. I'm telling you, I light that thing up every time.
Yeah.
3 o'clock, man, maybe I'll go have a full burger.
And it's unlimited booze that you get the drink package, and and then you're
oh my God.
You're drinking half a Bud Light, and you're like, this is warm, and you pumped it into the trash, and you just order new beer. It's the ultimate waste, and that's just great.
I
love cruises.
I love getting a beer and taking 2 sips, or pouring the top off. You got to do that's the trick.
Yeah.
The aluminum cans, they get hot in the sun. Yeah. You got to pour the top off, and you drink a couple drinks, and you just throw it away and grab another.
God, I feel like we're. This is how, if homosexuality was opened up to everybody and you could just pick it, and you weren't born that way, this is how a threesome would start.
Yeah. We just, we're like, hey, let's just start massaging your feet. You got very tan feet, by the way.
I do have very tan feet.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, my guy?
Just on vacation for the past month.
Oh, so you know what? My wife, the last time you were in
Did you call your wife? Because she's very concerned about you. We've been basically day drinking all day with Bert Kreischer.
You know what? But being honest,
at the Improv all weekend long. Get your tickets now. Very hard to find.
So being honest works because I'm like, listen, Bert Kreischer came in. I've been drunk right now.
My wife's in the chat room,
and she's like, "That's
everything.
fine. I have to go show a house, so I'm not going to be home. You have to make the kids dinner." I'm like, okay.
What are you going to do, mac and cheese?
No,
pick up a pizza.
Order something.
No, he's going to make Chinese food. Of course he's
I just order something. It's ridiculous.
I'm going to make sushi. I'm going to go out and find some fresh raw fish.
But my wife,
slice it.
Now this goes into okay. I know we're on the radio, but who cares? So this goes. My wife's favorite joke of all time was the last time Bert was on the show. You were making a joke about how your L.A. friends, like your Florida friends, came and visited your L.A. friends, and then your Florida friend was like, "All right, let's go. I'll drive." And they're like, "Wait a minute, you've been drinking?" And I'm from Florida. It's okay. And then my wife thought that was so funny. Listen, this is Florida. We all live in Florida, and we're not condoning drinking and driving.
You think Jimmy Buffett calls an Uber?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's
does not.
Funny because
he's flying his seaplane drunk.
My wife laughed at that because she grew up in Florida too, in Miami, and listen, and then in LA, it's funny because everyone's like, "Oh, don't do that," and you shouldn't do that. Of course, Uber, but she found that super hilarious.
That's what I
have no
about,
idea where to.
I love the TV show Bloodlines because it kind of really showed what Florida was like. You'd see them go out to a bar, have a few beers. And then they just drive. You see them driving, and you were like, "Hold on, you guys know you're making media for everyone to see. Everyone's going to see this."
Yeah.
But that's Florida. Is if you live in the Keys and you happen to go in Isla Mirada, you go fishing, have a few beers on the boat, you get in the car and you drive home.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to. And by the way, I don't drink and drive. I definitely don't drink and drive.
Yeah, we don't.
Now with Uber, just Uber, you're going to cause yourself a big problems.
We Uber crazy.
Go ahead.
But I remember, and I can't remember this properly, but I remember going out in the boat, taking my boat out to St. Petersburg. Going out on the boat, having beers with my friends, and then loading the boat back up and getting in the car and driving the boat home. I don't remember how many beers I had. Maybe 4, 2. Who knows? There were always Coors Lights, but there was no cognizant like oh, I shouldn't be doing this. Like now as an adult, man, I won't get behind the wheel if I.
You can't.
Like, yeah.
You just can't.
But as a kid, I was just like, oh, yeah, we're fine. We're totally fine.
Dude, I think earlier in my early 20s, like doing stuff, even you and I, we'd go out on the boat. Like, even you and I went out on the boat ourselves and went fishing, and we had a couple beers, and then, like...
A couple was like 9.
But we weren't out there...
hammered. I was driving with one eye shut.
We killed a person. Remember when we used to commit hate crimes?
It's a horrible
Have you
thing.
ever been to the Garden of Eden strip club in San Francisco?
No.
Oh, no. Is Garden of Eden... I'm sorry, I'm drunk as hell. I'm sorry. Garden of Eden
Don't
is
punch
in...
the table, my God.
Is in Key West.
No. I'm talking about the one that you and I went to.
I think
Was
I
it the
might have
Garden of
been
Eden?
It was
to-
Garden of Eden.
Is it on a steep hill?
It's on an incline in San Francisco.
Okay,
yeah.
I think I've been there. I've definitely been there.
Yeah, I just got busted again for
really?
like Tom and I were there when we went to the podcast awards 2 years ago. We lost horribly to Mark Maron and Adam Carolla, and we went in there, and the strippers basically took our wallets out of our pockets and started undressing us, and it was going to be like
It was
we're
a
going to cheat
whorehouse,
on our
yeah.
wives, but we didn't do it. We had to fight our way back out.
We're like, hey, we don't want this. We just want to be a
we were
gentleman
like, look,
and
we just
have
want to see
alcohol.
some boobs.
Yeah.
We just want to have like it used to
I'm from Florida. I know what a strip club, how a strip club works.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to molest me.
Yeah.
I went into South Africa. I went to a strip club in South Africa, and the lady says, touch or no touch? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
She goes, the lap dance, touch or no touch? And I go, who gets no touch? I'm definitely getting
Why is
touched.
that an option?
Yeah,
And
what
so
are you
we-
from Maine?
Yeah, so we go in there, and she starts taking my pants off, and I go, hold on, you're not allowed to do that. I'm married. And she was like, well, you got touch, and I was like, hold on, you touch me? She was like, yeah, and I was like, oh no, I meant like I touch you, and she was like, oh, that's called no touch, and I was like. Wow.
It's so confusing.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to get double no touch and leave. Because I think I might get close
Wait,
to cheating.
double no touch is when you double touch.
By the way, as soon as the lap dance started, I was like, ugh, she's definitely ate curry for lunch. I got to leave. God. And then I got another lap dance, and she had curry, and I was like, did you guys... And then the third lap dance, I was like, hey, did they bring in curry for everybody?
Oh God, I'm drunk.
We should wrap this up. I should probably go to bed.
You're right. How much time we got? We're done with it.
Well,
right?
you got 3 more minutes, buddy.
Okay, fine.
Let's do it. We can do it.
Yeah, we can power through.
We can plug some stuff.
You guys
We're
want to
good
just hear a story?
Well, yeah.
Ooh, you got a ghost story? Tell us a ghost story.
First time I made black people laugh was at Raleigh Massimino basketball camp. This is the story I was going to tell on Ari Shafir's This Is Not Happening. I'll tell it to you as quick as I
All
can.
right, no problem.
You got plenty of time because we were light on the first segment.
So I was going to tell it, but then stuff went down, and I decided I would just save it for my hour, so I'll tell you guys.
Yeah,
and
all
by the
right.
way, it's one of my favorite stories that ever happened. My cousin reminded me of this story.
Okay.
He's like, I said something about making black people laugh. We were at a family reunion. He was like, do you remember the first time you made black people laugh? I was like, no. He was like, Raleigh Massimino basketball camp. First day there, predominantly black basketball camp at Villanova. I get knocked unconscious. Okay? So I go down for the count. They make me sit out the next day. Now, serendipitously, I'm not sure I'm using that word right. Serendipitously, the 2 best basketball players at that camp got caught smoking weed that night.
No.
So they got forced to sit out too. 6'7", 6'5", 2 black dudes. And Raleigh Massimino said, I'm going to sit you in between them because they got caught smoking weed. Everyone knows that. I don't want them having a good time. So you're going to be Mr. Buzzkill.
Yeah,
so
well, on an odd note, I don't trust any basketball player that doesn't smoke weed. Like, if you told me we just signed this guy with the Orlando Magic and he's like straight edge, I'd be like,
yeah, I don't trust
bust.
him.
He's a bust.
So put him on the free throw line. I want to see his nerves.
Yeah.
So they sit me in between them. Now, to every kid walking by the camp, they were like at the camp that day, they saw that they knew these 2 dudes got caught smoking weed, and they see me, this 13-year-old white kid, in between these guys are like, oh, that's how he gets down. They thought that I got caught smoking weed with them.
Oh, you're one of the weed guys.
Yes, so and I recognized that. After a while, I was like, oh, that's right. That is how I get down. Yeah, I'm a bad dude. So middle of the camp, Ralph Sampson shows up. Middle of that day, just shows up, pulls in everyone. Is like, all right, everyone sit on the gym floor. I'm going to give you a speech today. I know he's going to give an hour speech. We're all sitting on the floor, and he goes, first off, who in here parties? Now, I was under the impression we were all going to put our hands up, but that was not the case.
Oh, it was a bad thing.
So I threw my hand up, and I'm the only kid in the whole camp with his hand up, and he's like, everyone looks at me, including Ralph Sampson, who, by the way, is a 7'4" guard from the Houston Rockets. He's a pro basketball player, and he looks at me and he goes, how do you party? I thought he wanted an answer, so I just said, Hardy? He's like, he goes, what did you just say? Once again, I thought he didn't hear me. I'm literally taking it. I was like, I just articulated and said it louder. I said I party hardy. Now it looks like I'm barking him down. Like, read my lips, dude. I party hardy.
Yeah.
First time I ever made a black person laugh. The dude next to me is humming like he's having an asthma attack. He said he parties hardy. He said he parties hardy. Ralph Sampson is irate. He's supposed to give an hour-long speech, and
mad.
A white kid just stole it at 15 seconds in. He steps through the massive kids.
Oh, no.
7'4", stepping over 5 kids at a time. Literally stands over me and goes, how do you party hardy? Once again, I thought he wanted an answer, so I looked past his junk. I'm 13 years old sitting crisscross applesauce. I look past him and I go, with both hands, dude, black dudes were losing their minds. Standing up and walking it off, shouting across the room to each other. He said he's partying hard with both hands. We call him double dribble. Like they were losing their minds.
You've got a nickname now. You're the king of the camp.
Ralph Sampson pulls me up, and the 2 kids that got caught smoking weed. This is a true story. Shoves a basketball behind our legs, and then one on our arms. So he buckles our legs, so we're holding it behind our with our hammies and our calves.
Yeah.
And then our arms are outstretched. We look like a calligraphy letter Z. And he's like, you're going to stand there, and I'll give my whole speech until you guys realize that partying isn't the way to live your life.
Partying hardy with 2 hands.
Party hardying isn't the way to live your life.
Partying hardying.
And then he gives a speech about not learning how to swim. That's his whole speech. I swear to God. I swear to you, you don't have to pay for the camp. I'll tell you what it was about. Ralph Sampson never learned how to swim because he thought that if you bothered yourself with silly stuff, that you couldn't focus on your dream. Part of me is like, you're 7'4". Why do you need to learn how to swim? Stand up in any part of the pool. You're still 16 inches out of it. And then at the very end of the speech, he comes down and he goes down the line. He's like, you think you're ever going to party? And they're like, no. And they're like, what did you learn? The first kid's like, if I don't smoke marijuana, I work hard. I'll get my dream as being a professional basketball player. By the way, 6'7". That might happen. Next kid, what did you learn? I said, I was thinking if I party hard, I'm never going to learn it. Then he gets to me and he's like, what did you learn? And all I can think in my head is watching black people laugh is the best thing that's ever happened in my life. and I'm probably not going pro. And I looked at Ralph Sampson and I go, you can't swim. Dude, picks were coming out of black dudes' hairs. They were like, double dribble, hit it out of the park. Oh, they call him Vanilla Thunder. Oh.
That's so good.
Goddamn.
I love this. I could do this all day. All right, I got to go to bed.
Yeah, we know you got to go to bed.
I love
Bert
you guys.
Kreischer at the Orlando Improv all weekend long. Go see him if you can get tickets. Call.
Get tickets tonight if you're driving there.
TheImprovorlando.com. Go ahead.
This goes on at 7.
I love how quickly you get drunk. Like you get
that happens
He's a lightweight. He
really is. Like,
you and I are going toe to toe.
Me and
We're
you
okay.
can definitely not
We're
Tiger
okay.
Woods our way out of it.
Yeah.
We're totally okay. Anything else, buddy?
That's it.
Bert, we love you, buddy.
By the way, Chris at the Improv just said hi. She goes, I can't believe you guys are still there.
We're all in trouble.
I gotta go order you Uber Black.
Order him a Uber Black.
Uber Black.
Yeah, and
what?
Yeah, you know the funny thing, Uber
10,000 texts.
Uber Black can't swim. We'll
edit that out.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Here's the thing, like when comedians come in here, we'll watch, like I'll go and like look up interviews just to see if there's interesting stories that we could, whatever. I'm just doing a little research.
We avoid the triggers.
And
we try to.
I never ever look up any like morning TV interviews with them because I'm like, well, this will be zero content because you only get like 8 minutes. Any comedian that sits down in morning TV gets 8 minutes.
When people come out to a Tom Segura show, what can they
expect?
And I'm like, God, You guys are so fucking horrible. Not to disrespect it, because we know some local TV, and they're just doing the formula.
No,
I understand. I understand the shit, but I'm like,
know what they're doing.
It's nothing. It's a zero.
They're our friends, and they know what they're doing. Like, what are they going to do?
I hate a guy who interviews a comic. He's got that one question chambered, and you just know it's coming.
Fuck you, Ross.
I say. Whenever I do like a phoner or any kind of like newspaper press,
and phoners are great, by the way.
The first thing I say is 14 years, Sinbad.
Because they
asked the first two questions every time.
Yeah, what got you in, or how long have you been doing comedy, and what was your favorite? What was your influence? Oh my God! I'm like,
hey, it's Jeff. I was supposed to call at 9:30. 14 years, Sinbad.
Just do. I mean, it just takes just 10 minutes of a little bit of thought, of thinking. But no, I understand though. They have to go by this formula because the people that are watching are like, I feel like they're dead inside, and they're just watching TV because it's on.
What happened first?
I don't know.
Are they dead inside because the TV is fucking on and it's boring and it's draining?
It's a good question.
It's the job. I think it's the job.
Well, yeah, but it does. Like, you don't have to be dead.
Yeah, but it's easier when you're getting a cushy job. You got a wardrobe budget. You get a ton of money. You just kind of sit there and you're like, hey, when Tom Segura comes to town, hey, what can people expect when they see you out there? Because
you're killing time instead of providing entertainment. So
I feel bad.
So Tom, do you do morning TV anymore? And also, when did you start fucking with DJ Dad Mouth?
I started fucking with them like a year ago. Here's what it was. It was like I had some cities that I would go to, and you do morning press usually to promote the show because you need to promote it. And they were like, oh, your show's sold out. And I was like, so why do I have to go do this?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it would just help us. And I was like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
And I could have pushed it, but I was like, fine, I'll go, but I'm gonna fuck off because I don't need to even do it.
Yeah.
So then it was like, how can I have fun with it? And I bought some controller turntables, so I like hip hop, so I just kind of like went with that. And then it was just. It was more fun because when you go to those things, the club person will like stand in the room, and the people would be like the interviewer would say, "Oh, so you have 5 shows this weekend at the Funny Bone," and I would go, "Oh, I don't even really care about that. It's all about the after party." And then the club person would be like, "What are you doing?" and I'll be like, it's sold out.
Yeah.
There's no tickets left, dude. So I'd be like, I don't even like comedy. I just care about partying, man. And they're like, what? And then it would make the interviewer be like, okay. And then you would just try to like, I told one that I was non-binary, like I didn't have a pronoun, And the lady was like, ugh. Like she was so grossed out by it.
Did any of them ever know that you were fucking around? Or did they take you seriously?
A couple of them, like they didn't say, I know you're fucking around, but they were such gamers. Like they were so about it.
Yeah, the pros.
They were fun to be with.
Okay.
There was one in particular who was like not having fun with it at all. Who was like, and then didn't say goodbye. Like usually you do those things. She walked the other way. And then texted the club like that was the most awkward thing I've ever experienced, and I thought that was the biggest compliment.
But here's the thing: there's more people that watch the clip of the YouTube video of you doing that to them than any YouTube, like any clip they've ever put out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's the best promotion they've
ever received.
They get more views. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guaranteed setup for next time you come through town. Like, guaranteed.
But I've heard you on interviews before. You talk about like I don't even think morning TV it does anything at all. Like I don't even think it sells a ticket for me.
I mean, you have to understand that like if you don't follow stand up, that every comic has a different demographic, right?
Yes,
so Chelsea Handler, Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, Jeff Tate. There's going to be different audiences in some. I
think
they're all spread out.
Legends.
And your idea as a club or a venue, any venue, is to just get the message out and see what comes back. But there's certain things that most would consider a reasonable waste of time.
Yes,
one is that like for me, you have to go, who's watching that morning TV show? Most of the people watching it are like housewives that are at home. It's They usually do it at like 8 in the morning, and you're following a guy who's like, "Here's how to make a souffle with sriracha or whatever." And then, and then they go, and then here's the comedian this week. Why are you telling them about the comedian? Nobody who's coming to the show.
Can you guys make phone calls from here?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to call?
We're going to call Tom Segura.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here, I'll let you dial.
Hold on 1 second.
All you got to do is put him on hold. If you can get his number.
But getting Doug with High and him doing his podcast at a bunch of different, he'll go and he's done it here in Orlando and do a stand-up set, but also do his live podcast, and it fucking sells it out.
But a lot of people didn't believe, like, when we said, to go back to your original point, like, of just the shavings of the iceberg, when we said, hey, we can make money doing this, like, we want to continue to do, or you can have them call us if that's easier. I mean,
I got the number.
Okay.
Can that go into? Can we hear them?
Yeah.
Or just hold it.
Yeah. No. This will go into the.
Oh, will?
I just wired this last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm the engineer.
My brain is so fucked up. Is this? Can I just dial it?
Yeah, you just dial it.
I dial 1?
And then after you talk to him, put him on hold, and I'll fire him up.
If you just hit line 1, we'll just put it up. This is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, this is one of the greatest days of my life.
What do I do? I hit.
Then just hit line 1, and then it'll start.
Did
calling.
you already hit line 1 or
line 1?
Yeah, line 1,
and then it should call.
And then it should call him, and then you'll have to talk to him on that handset. Yeah, and then put him on hold. There's a hold button on there.
Is it ringing?
I don't know. Did I do it right?
No.
Do you want Chris to do it?
Yeah.
Would you like me to dial it?
Hi, it's Bert Kreischer calling for Tom Segura. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Is that woman having sex?
Is Sam? Do I want a rebuttal? Did you say? Yeah, that's fine. Is Tom on the podcast still? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And Sam Roberts is hosting right now. Okay, I'm doing a podcast. Do you mind if I record it for the podcast I'm doing? That's fine. Yeah, don't worry. It should be fine. I got you. Don't worry about it. Okay, good. Put us on with Sam, Primetime Roberts. Okay. All right, thanks. Can you hear this?
Yeah. Put it on hold. Just put it on hold.
Oh.
She's so nice.
How do I put it on hold?
Do you see the hold button in the center?
I don't. I'm panicking.
It says hold. Chris, help him.
Yeah.
Where does it say hold? Oh.
Okay, hold.
And then put it on. We'll put it.
The years and years and years of stuff we've heard.
So what are we doing now?
I thought I was calling Tom Segura.
I have no idea what's going on.
I guess
I just started drinking too.
So who we have on the phone right now, by the way, who managed to call in? Who's that? Bert Kreischer is on the phone. And Tom Segura was just here, and he asked the question yet again: why you're so fat?
Am I supposed to respond to that?
Totally up to you, Bert. I don't want to fat shame anybody because it's happened to me in my life. I can relate. I know what it's all about. Feel free to ask me why I'm so fat.
Let me tell you something.
Like.
The question is, what is wrong with Tom that he doesn't think he's fucking fat?
That's a good question. The other question is, why is Tom coming on this show and spending most of his time talking about you and your weight? That's another question entirely.
No shit! I mean, it's like he's delusional. He lives in a fucking universe where he believes he's in shape. I saw him doing kettlebells, and it looked like he was rolling dough, and the dough was his stomach. How dare he say I'm fat? Let me tell you something. This game is afoot.
You sure that wasn't just a huge chalupa from Taco Bell? I know you think it was a kettlebell, but I'm thinking it was probably...
Tom Segura is obese. Like, textbook obese. Like, I may be fat.
Well,
I may go to the
talking about false flag.
I may go to the cardiologist, and the cardiologist is like, "Listen, we got some work to do." Tom goes to the cardiologist. He's like, "Hey, give me your wife's number."
Yeah. Wow.
I can't believe Sam sat through this bullshit. Sam, did you really not back me up on this?
Look, he said I did point out that Tom had been fat forever. And that you weren't fat before, and so the conversation became...
Sam, that doesn't help my argument! That doesn't help the argument, Sam!
Well, yeah, I mean, look. It was more of a contextual conversation about the conversation about you being fat, less than you actually are fat.
That doesn't... Okay, change the word fat with whore, okay? Tom, you've really been a whore. Bert just became a whore last week. That doesn't make me feel better, Sam.
Bert, Tom did to our arguments what Godzilla does to the subway car. You know, he took it, he smashed it, he kept going. We tried to throw things in his path, and it just had no effect whatsoever. He is determined to make you and your weight a distracting issue.
Would you make it? Would you?
So he can continue to eat like a gavone.
Would you maybe say delusional, much like a fat person who can't stare in a mirror and go, "I have some work to do"? Look, I've shaved Tom's breasts before. I know what he looks like.
You know when people are full of self-hatred, they'll turn it outward, right? And so you've become the repository for all of his self-hatred. That's just my armchair shrink.
Yeah.
And Bert, I was going to defend you, but he told me that when he goes on like local morning news shows, he gets them to ask him why you're so fat, and I think that's a very funny thing to do.
Well, I mean, how funny could it be wouldn't they have to have some, knowledge of Bert and what Bert does?
It's even better.
Or is it even better if it's completely...
The joke's on everybody. Like, the joke's on the fact that now Bert's name is being brought up for no reason. It's just bullying for the sake of bullying. It's news people that are so stupid they would ask that question without
I don't know,
any
Bert.
context.
Wait a minute. We have to ask Bert a question because we're continuing under a fallacy, Sam. And, Bert, do you think that any PR is good PR? Like they used to say, any news is good news?
Yeah.
As long as he's mentioning your name.
Yeah. Ask Michael Richards about that. Any PR is good PR.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Well, that's true. But Michael Richards, if you forget Michael Richards was...
no one forgets Michael Richards. No one forgets Michael Richards. He has cemented his history and his legacy.
Right. Yes, Jerry Seinfeld had to come out and tell people it's not funny, stop laughing, I'm here to defend my friend.
More people know about Michael Richards than know about Kramer. He's finally outdone Kramer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yes. No, here's the thing. The funniest... Look, okay, I have two sides of this fence. Both sides, I always side with funny. The funniest part about Tom getting news anchors to ask me if I'm fat is that they don't get my name right. That the funniest part of that is that they don't know who I am. And I did press with them.
Bert Chrysler.
I did the press with them 2 weeks ago, and they're like, "Who's Bert Chrysler?" That's the funniest. That's the only funny part of that. This
is ironic because I had a 1970 Chrysler Newport that caught on fire on the side of the Long Island Expressway one time. I did have a burnt Chrysler, so this is doubly ironic.
It would only be ironic if it was a van. It
was a Newport.
But then the fact it would be if like. I wish I could come up with an analogy that was TV friendly or radio friendly. I feel like anything I'm going to say is going to come out like Michael Richards now. But it's the fact that he's doing it, and he's doing it in this character DJ Dadmouth, who I honestly don't get. Like, I don't get the character, but whatever. But they think I'm Bert Chrysler, and then it's the fact that he's 10 times fatter. Here's the real irony of this: is that his moron fans, who, by the way, I share a bed with, they're my fans too, go on my Instagram and load it up with just fat shaming to the gills. Now, the humor lies in the fact that the people I grew up with have no idea about this ongoing joke and are simply calling out fat shaming and trigger warnings and safe spaces. And then these trolls just destroy them, and you watch egos and self-esteems fall apart online.
I think what we could all agree on, Bert and Sam, is that people are loathsome, is what we can all agree. Let's just agree on that. There's a lot of loathsome people out there. And boy, oh boy, they love stuff like this. So I say let them have at it. You just need to go with the flow at this point. Roll with the punches. If I knew Latin, I would say it in Latin.
Wait, did you say roll? Is that a fat joke when you say
that
roll?
Is.
Go with the punches?
Exactly.
Just stay at the buffet.
Yes.
Listen, no, there's nothing. Look, what you get out of this is that Tom is delusional. He's married to someone who's filling up his delusional head. Christina Pajinski is now a yes man to Tom. And the truth is, I'm not fucking fat, and I'm going to prove it to him when I lose a ton of weight and I look like a model, and it's not funny anymore. And I'm posting pictures like Dane Cook on Instagram.
And just don't do that, Bert. You're playing into the games of all those people who told me as a kid that they were only saying things to me about my weight because they cared about me and they wanted me to lose weight.
I'm gonna destroy him.
I'm fatter.
I'm not gonna get fatter. That's not how to solve this.
Yes. So your blood is like 60% buttercream. I think you might be going in the wrong direction.
I'm gonna
like people will stop making fun of you if you become extremely obese. I'm sure of it.
What if they cross over that line from mocking you to really being concerned about you? Now suddenly they're like, "Oh my God, have you seen Bert? Oh my God."
This would only end good if I died right now from a heart attack, and everyone was like, "Jesus Christ, man, Tom, not cool." And I just destroyed his career. He called me. Look, you want to really pull the curtain back? I'll be honest with you. He called me one night after it really got out of control. It really did. Like it's bad right now. It was really bad like a week ago. And Tom called and he was like, "Hey man, I did not expect it to catch this much steam." And he goes, "Should I say something on my podcast or have you on and we'll tell everyone to stop?" I go, No, asshole. You're not going to step out into the front yard like my mom in her apron going, "You stop picking on my boy." I go, "We're riding this into the fucking ground."
That always makes it worse.
Yes.
I used to hate when my mother would tell my brothers to stop punching me. It always makes it worse because then you're like, as soon as mom's gone, they punch you that much harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
I'm burning this down. I'm taking this bridge to the ground.
Yeah. Wow. Well, now you're going to be, where are you in the next few days? I think you're in Orlando at the Improv. Is that where you're going to be? How do you make Orlando laugh right now, Bert? What do you do? How do you make those folks laugh?
I just take my shirt off.
Okay. There you go. That ought to do it. Yeah. I'm looking at pictures of you. You don't look that fat, by the way.
Thank you. I can't believe you just now looked at a picture of me. We've been talking about my weight this entire time, and now you Google my image?
I'm looking at your website.
Nobody said this when Tom Segura was spending 45 minutes talking about how fat Bert was. Like now we're saying,
yeah. I can't believe. Do you interview Spike Lee and you're like, "Hang on, you're black"?
Wait a minute. Just slow down for a second. Yeah, BertBert.com is where you can go. It's spelled Bert with an E, and then you can see the relatively trim Bert Kreischer, not Bernd Chrysler, by the way.
Yeah.
And next time Tom is here, we're gonna mock him relentlessly.
No, I'll fly myself out, and we'll do shirt to shirt next to each other, shirts off, and you be the judge. You be the judge.
What's his least favorite thing about himself or his body?
It's that he hates black people.
Oh, really? All right. Well, next time
hates the man. Like, he says that to me privately. He's like, "God damn it, if I could just get rid of all of them." And I'm like, "Tom, you can't talk like that."
Wow.
So everybody should be tweeting at Tom Segura, "Why are you so racist?"
No, don't do that. No, don't do that. No, I meant Jews.
BertBert.com is where you can go. Thanks, Bert, for joining us. We do appreciate it. And
I'll talk to you guys later.
See you later. Say Weather on Freewheeling is brought to you by Pre-Pass. Sam Roberts is...
What the hell just happened? we called up. I don't even know who we're talking to.
Pretty sure that
I'm pretty
sure that our podcast called a radio show, and Bert Kreischer said that Tom Segura hates black people. Is that what just happened?
Was that an XM satellite show?
Jews too. Yeah, that was.
What show?
That was show on show.
Were we supposed to tell them that we were recording them?
No. Well, yes, legally, yes, legally, yes.
Who are those people?
Do you remember we used to commit hate crimes?
Hold on. Who are we just talking to?
I have no fucking idea.
You don't have any idea?
Fucking idea. I'm so fucking hammered right now.
Well, like
your shoe's on the wrong foot.
He has a sandal on the wrong foot.
let's go into podcasting real quick. Obviously something that we've been doing for a while. And when did you start your podcast, and why did you decide to start it?
I started entirely because of Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. I did like one of the first episodes of his podcast. Yeah. Which I was like, when he was like, come do my podcast. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, well, he's like the powerhouse, you know?
He's a powerhouse, but he's also one of the, he's an early adapter, you know? So it's like, it was before they were where they are now. It must have been like, I want to say his might have been like, I'm sure it's easily accessible, like 08, 09.
Yeah.
And we were like in his office, like on a couch. And he had fixed mics, and I remember he kept telling me to lean forward because, like, I was like, my back hurts, and he was like, lean forward and talking to the mic. And I was, I left there. I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, why are we doing that? And he was like, yeah. And then you upload it. I was like, this is so stupid.
I wasted my time.
There is an element of there's like a geekdom kind of a feel to when you get done with it, and there's also that emptiness of who the fuck are we talking to?
Yeah. And I didn't know, when I did his first podcast, I'd never heard a podcast. I didn't know what a podcast was. Yeah. So I was just like, we were just having conversations, which, I hadn't figured out this podcasting really is, it's conversations. Sure. So I did a bunch of his, and then they started to get bigger, and like more comics were doing them. And he told me, he was like, why don't you do one? And I was like, I don't really see myself doing one. And then he saw my wife do stand-up, like at a club. And the next day I saw him, and he was like, dude, you're so dumb if you don't do a podcast with your wife, because you're both comics, you're both funny, and you live together. Like, you can just do it out of your house.
Yeah. There's a convenience factor there, Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, I have AIDS.
That's totally cool. We all have it. That's fine.
So when he said that, I was like, well, who'll do it? And then Red Band, who co-hosts the show and is producer, goes, I'll produce it. And so I told my wife, Christina, I go, do you want to do it? And she was like, I mean, I guess. Like, it was also kind of like, well, I guess we could try it.
Yeah.
So we would drive over to Red Band's house for like a year. I think we started in 2011. Yeah. And like, for a year, we would drive over, and we weren't even consistent. It was kind of one of those things where I'd be like, hey, can we do it Tuesday? And he's like, I can't. How about next Wednesday?
Right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But after I saw what was happening with it, and with like how it was growing, and the fan and the reaction, the response we were getting, we realized that the only way to be consistent would be to do it ourselves out of our own place. So we ended up, like, after a year of working with Red Band, who we're still like good friends with, we took it over. We built a little studio in our house, and now we do it. We do in-studio shows twice a week, and then we do live shows on the road like once a month.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when you started to see the popularity of it and then how many people were downloading, I mean, with podcasts, what's cool is, you could see all the analytics, and you're like, holy shit, like this many people are downloading from here. And then you actually get that direct response. Like, we worked in radio for so long. The antiquated rating system
I heard you snort laugh.
It was so ridiculous. It's like, well, this many people, we're guessing, listen based upon these 12 people that listen.
Yeah, we've given one guy a beeper, and if his beeper detects the station somewhere in his environment, then that counts for 40 million listeners. That's what seriously some of the shit they tell us. And I'm like, well, what does that even mean? So you got one, like, and people started, those PPM meters, people started putting them on their dogs and just letting their dogs run around the house and shit. It's like, it's insane. It's just like, I don't even understand it.
So yeah, once you started seeing the audience and everything like that, did you immediately think, were you excited the fact that you wanted to do it because you can monetize it, or did you think, hey, this is just going to overall help, me and my wife's career in comedy as far as getting, more and more content out?
I saw it as like, I mean, I guess it's a combination of all those things, but like when you see that, for a long time, if you're a comic, if you're not on television, then no one knows who you are. Or what, they don't know anything about you. They can't see you.
Yeah.
So you have no exposure. And this was like the equivalent of like being able to make your own, in a way, TV show.
Yeah.
And put it out there. So you can reach an audience by uploading. So that was the exciting part, that like you see the reaction. And yeah, I thought of course, I didn't think even advertising revenue, which became a whole thing. I was thinking like, oh, people will come to see stand up more.
Yeah.
Which
absolutely.
they do.
Yeah.
But the other thing I didn't realize was how many people like podcasting more than stand up. Like I have people that come to shows and they're like, yeah, I mean, this is cool, but I like podcasts more. And I'm like,
really?
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes people are like, they like the
stream
way,
of consciousness.
And they almost feel like they know you so well if they listen to you all the time that they feel like stand up is like a put on. You know,
okay,
like
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's. I mean, because
that's more your job, and the real you is the podcast,
right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can
so
see
I was like, oh, and once I heard them say it, I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense.
Plus, you're doing 2 shows a week. Plus, there also is like a family factor there. You know, it's you and your wife.
It's my wife, and then my dad's on the show a lot. One of my
he talks
sisters
about
on the show.
doo-doo a lot. He's shitting.
A lot of shitting.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of shitting on our show. Because this guy, I mean, not to go in that direction, but this guy stands up to wipe like a goddamn animal.
No.
What?
Yeah. No, and I sit,
no, hold on.
And I sit to wipe like a gentleman.
No.
Well, you sit like a human being.
Yeah, he stands like a goddamn animal.
No, hold on, Tom. This
Are you talking to yourself? Or are you talking to that Tom?
That Tom. This has been an ongoing argument we've had since this podcast started. There's
no argument. You sit down.
No, well, hold on.
And he has a more successful podcast, so you have to go with him.
Tom, you might think that, but I guarantee you start asking some of your friends, and they too they'll tell you they stand up.
He stands straight up the guy that guards.
Doesn't everything mush together?
No,
that's what I say. Your cheeks go together, and your shit smears everywhere. He stands like a British general.
No, I'm talking. You just stand up like you're still crouched down.
No.
You're just standing up, and then you know what I'm saying.
Too hard. It's too difficult.
You don't lean over on the toilet.
Too difficult.
I don't understand how that. I've grown up.
He's
standing.
looking at you. I'm going to take a picture of Tom staring at you like he's.
So you never lean on the cheek.
No.
You always get off the seat?
Yes, yeah.
What is going on?
No, half the world does it, Tom. I'm telling you.
Come on, half the world.
At least 40%.
That's an exaggeration.
40% of the world is.
How did this start, though?
I don't know. That's
also,
a good
did you
question.
just notice it went from half the world to 40%? By the time you leave, it'll be 11%. You know,
I did notice that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've
got a sliding scale of who squats.
He stands straight. It's too hard. Like when you're in a seated position, you're relaxed.
Yeah. What's up with those quads, dude? Do you throw some weight around?
No. I do have massive legs, like Ray Rice legs, without the punching.
Yeah.
So okay, well let's no more standing and shitting.
I know you get embarrassed.
So I want to talk to you about doing a podcast with your wife, and also traveling, doing stand up. Most people, have a small amount of interaction with their wives, and
small amount of interaction.
We do. We spend more time together.
Yeah,
because this is our full time gig now.
Yeah,
so we spend more time together doing this. Wife
How many a
comes
week
home.
do you do?
We do one on Fridays, which is free, and then we do a members podcast that we do 2 shows on Mondays, which is for people that subscribe.
We also do one for the MLS team in town. We do a soccer podcast as well.
Yeah, because
I love it.
And then the last one we do is a podcast we do here that we sell to a radio station, and then they play it.
Isn't it amazing?
It's Podio.
It's amazing that like you can just set up a thing in your house. You know, your studio can be like our studio's in our home.
Yeah,
and you can just record a show, and then that's content that people want to consume. And you go like, why anything else? It's like now we're like when we see where podcasting has how far it's come, it's just amazing, man.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is just you're putting out content.
Yeah,
and that's what everybody like.
It's more fucking American too. It's like you're controlling it. You say what you want. You sell it to whoever you want to, or you don't sell it. Maybe you just give it away to everybody. You know, there's like it's to me, it's very. I don't know.
It's DIY for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's punk rock.
There's also there's a weird thing, and we've had this conversation before. Like when comics come in here, I always wonder if they think they're wasting their damn time just doing this podcast. And you, not so much because you do a podcast.
You understand it.
But there's a huge discrepancy in podcasting in which you have your Joe Rogans, you have your Tom Segura's of the world, and then you got some like two guys doing it in their basement that may have 5 downloads. So I can imagine when you're traveling around, you get asked to do podcasts a lot. And then you're like, fuck, am I going and wasting 2 hours of my time and not including driving there to go do a podcast that 3 people are listening.
Well, by the way, this isn't even recording.
Yeah,
this is all.
We haven't started.
This is all a facade. We don't even record. We just try to get the improv to bring comics over, and then
I'm all about the pre-roll, dude.
Yeah.
But like, how often do you find yourself sitting in someone's living room and you're like, "Fuck, I know no one's listening."
I could be doing it right now.
No, I'm not. But I'm so hesitant and reluctant to get involved that like whenever someone's like, "Want to come over and podcast?" I'm always like, "I got this thing."
Yeah. Because there is an element of fuck, like because it's consumer grade technology and equipment has become so easily accessible.
Yeah.
Like before, 10 years ago, if you go to a radio station, you're just like, well, fuck, I know someone's probably listening, because they have a fucking tower.
But I also know if the club is saying, like the Improv was like, we're setting you up to go. It's not. They're not going to like
waste their time.
Yeah. No, they're not. And they've been good to us, and we try to be good to them. And our listeners, they that's the thing about podcasting. And you touched on it earlier. They're so much more loyal than loyal. I did radio for too long. I really did. I wish that I'd left earlier to do more of this.
It's the best.
They're so much more loyal, the podcast listeners. But it is funny. You're right. There's that weird gap between the guys that they don't know what they're doing, and then like me, like with the not to say that I know what I'm doing, but I've done radio for so long that when we talked about starting a podcast, I had a closet of shit. We just went in there and we said we're going to need this and 3 of these guys and that. Yeah. We had everything we needed right there, and it's fucking awesome.
Tom, we ask this question a lot to comedians because I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by if you ever taken a gig, like a private gig with someone who had a bunch of money that wanted to pay you to come maybe do comedy at their house or do comedy in like a private situation. Because I found that maybe earlier on, or a lot of comics run into this, where all of a sudden they're like some rich guy that's a fan of yours is like, hey, I'll pay you.
Like a sheik.
I'll pay you $5-8 grand or whatever to come do 20 minutes at my birthday party. And then you accept it because you're like, fucking $8 grand.
The nightmare gig.
And then you find yourself in a super uncomfortable situation. Has that ever happened to you?
Home Builders Association of Northern Kentucky.
Okay. Awesome. It seems like everybody has a story about something like this.
Man, did that fucking suck.
We're huge fans, man. Huge fans.
Yeah.
That was so bad. And by the way, the private birthday party, wedding party thing, at this point, it's like I think every comic must have just like a running tally of how many times people go. They go, how much do I come do my party? And you go like, it's fucking $10,000.
Yeah.
And they're like, great. Like, what's the contact? Here's my agent, and nobody ever called. But they talk it up like, here's what I want you to do, and they never, ever follow through. I know somebody who was paid, and this is no shit, $80,000.
Holy shit!
To do a private roast at a house.
Wow.
For like 10 people, and he just roasted the guy.
Dude, 80 G's is no fucking joke.
That is
oh my God.
But the Home Builders Association contacted me, and they were like, we watched your stuff. Like, the lady was like, I watched your stuff. I think it's great. Like, I think you're really funny. This was like a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And I go, okay. And like, they fly you out, pay you well, 20 minutes. It's awesome. A good gig. Yeah, it's like, comparatively, you're like, oh, this is a good gig.
Yeah.
I get to a country club, and I'm like, country club's not a good spot for stand-up. And they're eating food, and I'm like looking at them, and like, this doesn't look like my crowd. It's like older, like a little, fancier, like
upper class. Yeah.
I'm like, it's also not good. For
older white dudes waiting to receive awards type of vibe.
And they're boozing, and it's like it's all about them. It's their special get together. So I go to the back, and they're like, "All right, we're about to do this." I go, "Okay," And the lady goes, "Do you need a mic?" And I go, "Of course I need a mic." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And she goes, "Okay." And the other lady goes up there and goes, "All right, we're going to do entertainment now." I'm like, "Oh,
like an old folks home."
Yeah.
Gather around. It's
and
entertainment time.
She has the mic and she looks at it and she's like, "Oh, it needs batteries." And I go, "You have to put batteries in it before I get up there." To the lady in the back, I go, "Don't bring me up with that." She calls me up and she goes, "We're going to go get batteries." So
she stand here.
She brought me up in front of them and then left to get batteries for the microphone that I'm
oh my god!
holding.
You see her like you see that in the movies. You see her drive away. I gotta go to the store.
So then I'm like looking at it and they're like, and I'm like kind of like I'm obviously just like joking about it. I'm like, "Yeah, who would need batteries?" And they're just like looking at me like, "Is this supposed to be funny?"
Oh my god!
Yeah, they're not amused.
Oh my god!
And then I put it in there and I'm doing like my best material, but it's all, I'm talking about living in downtown, excuse me, LA, and people with face tattoos and I look at people are like like horrified looks, mouth agape, like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I'm talking about like heroin addicts and just making fun of what all the shit that I see. And then I'm like, man, I'm eating shit. And I see this guy in the front row, like, do people like cringe looks? And there's one table like off to the right laughing. I actually turn my body and face the table. I'm
That's
like,
your table.
This is your private show.
And
I do the 15 minutes to them. I fucking make a beeline to the lady that hired me, and I'm like, she goes, "Here's your check," and I'm like, holy shit. And she goes, "Yeah, we had a George Bush impersonator last year. I think
they loved him."
They're like, "I think we should have probably stuck with him." And I'm like, "Yep, I think you should call him right now for next year."
In a crazy twist of fate, that guy was he's from Orlando.
Probably.
That
guy,
his name is John Morgan, he's also the name of a prominent attorney around here. But that guy is the #1 George Bush impersonator. He's from fucking Orlando.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I've seen that guy.
Yeah, he's good, but I mean,
yeah, we love George Bush. They're a bunch of rich, fucking conservatives. Hey, you know what's terrifying to me is as a comic being completely alone. It's just you, like with a band. We've talked to a lot of like musicians that have bands that they played shitty gigs, but they're up there with everybody else.
It's like a team, and then like a gang. Like even you and I, when we go and do stuff, it's like if it's the two of us on stage,
changes everything.
Way easier, it's an easier and I'll start shitting on everything we've done. When we were doing radio, we do these shitty ass bikini contests, and they'd be bad. So I would personally just start shitting. I did it. Oh God, I can't say what I just did it recently. Let's say, remember, and I just started shitting on everything and just trying to make him laugh.
You suffer alone when you do stand up. Yeah, it's a much more painful death. I mean, like when we do live podcasts a lot, and like our show is Christina and I, but we also do sound drops a lot. Like we have a lot of drops on the show, and we play clips, and so like that is like layers of wall between you. Like we did one live podcast where they didn't know how bad we thought they were as an audience at the live podcast.
Yeah.
But they would never know because we just played off of each other. We played clips. We did our show. And then we were like, we're never releasing this episode. Because this audience was terrible. But we've done, all the other ones have been good. But in stand-up, it'd be like, you would know and they would know. You're like, that shit sucked. I got booed off stage last year, and I happened to have my recorder.
Oh no!
And I made it into a podcast. We did a podcast of me getting booed for like half an hour.
No shit!
Intensely booed. And my podcast is called Your Mom's House.
Yeah.
And if you go back to episode 172, it's titled "The Winnipeg Bombing." It's intense, like hundreds of people booing.
Oh my God!
Why did that happen?
It was like to break it down into more than like it's a series of things.
Yes,
Step one.
Like
it's like a plane crash when they. It's not
the perfect
It's
storm.
not just one of these things that went wrong. It was like a series, a perfect.
It's a mechanical error, a pilot error. You know what I mean?
Like a tire.
It's almost like 9/11. There's different things that had to line up in order for the shit to go down.
There's little things I learned about it. Like one of the things was that the show had big groups. Mm-hmm. So most stand-up shows, you're talking about 2 people. 4 people, 2 people, 3 people, but these were groups of 60 and 80. So there was that contributed to kind of mob mentality. Like in other words, when they turn in unison.
Yes,
because they're there as a group,
gotcha,
not like it's just me and him.
Yeah.
You know, but then like they didn't like me. Like I walked on stage and I think they were just like already, not on board, not like confrontational, but then like I definitely like they were kind of those people where it was their event, so they thought that like they could kind of do what they wanted a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lack of respect that goes
a little
there.
bit. Like they didn't know that like maybe like how to watch a stand up show.
Sure.
And like I remember I was like telling a guy, I was like, "You gonna like pipe down?" He's like, "I'm trying to be respectful." And I was like, "What?" Like it was a weird thing.
It was a weird response.
Yeah, and then
my heckling is the most polite.
It was at a club, but it was a fundraise. Like they were having a fundraising thing for dogs. Like one group was, and I was like, "Why don't you make like a dog, and put your face in a bowl, and shut the fuck up?" And that went over horrifically.
Oh man.
Then another guy, separate from them, not in their group, was front row, and he was tagging my jokes like to his table. So like I would say something, like a joke, and then he'd be like, "Yeah, I'm sure he did that," like shit like that. And so I was like, "What are you saying?" So I have this guy, I have that guy, and it's becoming more confrontational. Well, with this guy, he really pisses me off. I tell him to fuck off. I try to throw him out, which I've done before.
Yeah. Sure.
And like in stand up, like if people don't know the stand up world, like you're on stage and you're like, this dude's out. That's it. Like they toss them.
Yeah.
So I was like, he's got to go. The guy comes over, talks to me, he goes, he's all right. And I go, no, I'm not asking. Like, he's got to go. And he's like, just give him another chance. And I'm like, dude, you can't do, because now they know that I'm not in charge of the room.
Yeah,
they're like, attack!
Yeah. It's kind of a teacher thing. Then
they're like, get him!
Yeah.
When they didn't toss that guy, like he was like, no. I was like, get him out. And he was like, nah. I was like, it was done. And then they started to go like, do your fucking act like that.
Oh man!
And I go, yeah, there is no act. They're like, that's obvious. And shit like that.
Oh god, yeah.
And then they were like, boo. And then it was like fucking 300 boos.
Oh my god!
And then it was a parade of boos.
When you leave at that point, do you do stereotypical drop the mic, get out of it? Are you aggressive about it?
The guy before me, the feature act, was a black guy. And they were all screaming, "Bring back the black guy!"
Okay. Like a little bit racist,
kind of racist. Yeah.
And so, like, I stayed up there for a long time, and I would tease them that I was going to leave, and they would cheer, and I'd be like, "Nah, I'm gonna stay." And they're like,
the fucked up thing about that is, if you are that black guy, you listen to them yelling, "Bring back the black guy," and you're a little offended, but you're also like, "That's kind of cool."
Yeah,
you're like this is shitty and cool at the same time because you want to be loved, but yeah.
So at that point in time, you're just like, you fucking say, fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want. At this point, they hate me, I'll just fuck with them. Maybe I can.
Well, I thought, their reaction was so over the top that it actually, I felt worse at less dramatic bombings.
Gotcha.
Okay,
yeah.
I think silence and like kind of maybe
uncomfortability,
and like being mocked might be worse than like 300 people booing you. You're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. They're all crazy.
Yeah, you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but it's still like the audio of it is pretty tremendous because
that's 177.
172.
172 of your mom's house. So you got to check that out.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Bert Kreischer! This is 2 years in the making, man. We've been trying to get you in our studio for so long.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and this is for you.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, let's do a
Because the last time we saw you, we were on the Monsters, and you brought us the same exact styled bottle of tequila. You came busting through the door. I don't know if you remember that.
This is like 7 years ago.
Yeah, this is like...
Was it 7 years ago?
It was a long time ago. So you can do a shot. I'll do one with you, though.
It was long enough where you
would... A bottle of Patron? Never hurt anybody?
You were early in your career because... It's funny because we have so much to talk about.
I don't know if you'll remember this. Do you remember telling the machine story for one of the first times?
I do.
Yeah, and then you had your manager, I think, call and ask for the copy of it for your CD, and I was the guy who put that together and sent it to him.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that was us.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That was so fucking long ago.
It was. Yeah. I'm telling you, maybe even 8 years ago now. I was still like a part-time employee. It was before I was even. I was like answering phones at the time, and I remember when Bert came in, I was astonished that you were such a nice guy because we've had like a ton of other people come in for interviews, and I'm like fucking Bert just like hanging out, just one of the dudes, and
you didn't bring your dog like John Lovitz brought his dog, and it sat right there, and it was a sweet dog, but it shed fucking everywhere. And I'm very I'm trying to keep. We just built this, so I'm trying to keep it nice. So I'm over there with the fucking rolly thing, rolling his dog's ass.
Yeah. So okay, there's a couple things that is the first time ever that's ever happened with us. One is that this is the first time we've had a lot of our listeners request to come in and watch.
We normally don't do this. We brought our giants, our personal giants.
Jesus Christ.
I know, these are our personal giants.
Your biggest fans are giants.
My biggest fans could hold me down and fuck me.
I love the idea of your biggest fans being the biggest fans. They are the guys.
And then we had another thing happen in which our buddy Chris, who he's got a mic over there, so
you're on.
He's going to be horrible at talking into the mic.
He's so timid.
He's a businessman. He's a professional.
He grabbed it like he was changing his son's diaper for the first time.
So I did ask. I said
on you. So
by the way, Gallagher's always looked like he's fucking 45.
Isn't he like the most attractive, smooth guy?
He hasn't changed at all. If you pull up our pledge picture, it's on my Facebook. You look exactly like you've looked your entire life. You have not changed at all. You and Dave Mills.
So I'll explain to our audience. So they're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So we know
a lot of people don't know that you and I are Bert Kreischer's brothers.
we know Chris. He's like, let's just say, he's a prominent businonman in town.
Yeah,
and
we know only the most prominent business people in Orlando.
We're the goofuses that So we were talking to him, and like it was like 2 years ago or a year and a half, and I had just read your book, Bert, and I started bringing up Bert.
Hold on, don't let him do that to you.
Why listen?
He just listened to your book.
I can't read that well.
By the way, my book, listening to it is a million times better than reading it.
It is.
Because I have a hard time reading out loud, so it is me losing my mind on the audiobook, just going, motherfucker! Fuck, shit, fucker! Who did this? And I wrote the N-word in it. And I get to the part where I write that. I look at Chris because he was in that house in our fraternity.
I know that well.
In our fraternity, there were a lot of guys said the N-word. It floated around a lot, and so I wrote it in the book. I wrote in the book, and then I get to the audiobook, and I go, I can't read this. I can't read this in history. And be the Tom Sawyer of the N-word.
Yeah.
And so
it was all right to write it.
I called my black friend Omar. I go, hey man, can you help me read some of my book? He's like, sure. What do you need? He comes over and I go, just say that word. He's like,
I remember that. That was hilarious. So anyway, Chris, we started talking about you, Bert, and then Chris was like, I went to college with him. I was in his fraternity. I'm like, are you shitting me? I just read or listened to the part in this book about his stories. And he's like, yeah. He's like, next time you have Bert, if Bert comes into town, please make sure to have me in the studio. And now it's happening. So it's been a long time in the making. So we'll start.
It's been like 2 years, man.
Yeah.
Like because we had you scheduled, and then you had to film for your TV show.
Yeah.
So the dates changed, and then the dates never reappeared. Like your rescheduled dates never reappeared, and then we waited.
Guy.
Yeah, you're busy, man.
No, yeah, it's been a little bit. The last 2 years have been absolutely chaotic for me, but it's not slowing down in a bad way. But I'm refocusing and just doing stand up for at least the end of the year, and then I'm going to figure out what I want to do with television.
Right on.
Awesome. So let's start, since we have Chris here and we haven't had you on before.
Do you have to go to work today?
I'm kind of working right now.
Yeah. We work a lot with Chris, so I think you could just lump it into overall work.
Just tell him you were yelling at us for something, and it'll be fine.
So, okay, let's talk about college, because our listeners, since you've never been on the show, you're a legend in Florida State.
I could totally say yes to that if Chris wasn't sitting right here.
Well, I mean, that is the perception, I think, of everybody.
You're
the party
at
animal.
least like right behind or above Charlie Ward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm still working.
Got him, Ward.
Bam! Crotch chop.
So let's talk a little bit about your guys' fraternity and what you actually, because I'll plug your book a million times on today's show, because it's so fucking funny and it's great, and I suggest everybody go out and buy it, or get it on iTunes.
It's called Life of the Party: Stories of the Perpetual Man-Child, of a perpetual man-child.
So, and we brought Chris in to confirm if some of these stories are true. and in fact, he did say, he's like, well, I can vouch that he did shit in a pizza box.
Were you there for that?
Oh, I was there. So I can give you the...
These are my favorite things to go through these. So Josh Young was who I was running.
Is that who you were running
PYT.
against? I was trying to remember that.
Yeah, and remember he had this is back when laser pointers just came out, and he had because our election system was it was kind of shitty. You remember Trent and Stephen Mills. And they both had sex with the same girl. Stephen's now married to her.
My God.
Yeah, Stephen went to prison. You know that?
He went to jail.
He went to prison for a while.
For what?
For I guess you can say it. I don't care. He's not going to sue me. It's real. He running marijuana with the Russians.
Yeah. No shit.
You and the Russians. Always. Florida State and the Russians.
You wanted to know what happened at our fraternity. Well, there you go.
Yeah, my God.
I'll say this, and you can attest to this. There were guys that partied 10 million times harder than I did. I was very tame. I don't think I didn't start drinking until I got back from Russia, because when I got back from Russia, my best friend at the time slept with my girlfriend.
Oh no!
And it was and I was really uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to deal with it, 'cause everyone knew about it, and everyone knew he had a big dick. So
that's the worst.
Yeah, and we're still friends. He just texted me. He's going to Colorado Springs. We're still friends. I don't talk to the girl.
Hey, big dick here, going to Colorado Springs.
She's married to Trent.
Oh shit!
The guy that we just said, Stephen Mills and Trent. She's married to Trent, and so I started partying right after that. I moved into the house with Mike Osborne. We lived in Tony and Bongwater's old room.
Yep.
And gotta have a guy named Bongwater.
Tony
Paccoon.
Tony Paccoon.
He was my roommate in my freshman year, and this dude, he would get a 4.0 every semester, and he would smoke weed every night and drink a thing of Jack Daniels every single night.
That's the key.
I mean,
Tony Paccoon.
That's what you got to do.
Amazing.
Tony Paccoon. It's so fun. And that's when I started partying. And then I moved out. Scalp Hunters was our big thing. We'd all go to Scalp Hunters every Tuesday night, and I moved out.
What was it called?
Scalp Hunters. It was
Scalp Hunters.
It's like an Indian.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's called microaggression hate crime.
Oh my God.
We went to a college in a different generation. Like my daughter was saying the other day, she goes, "No, Dad, there's a spectrum of homosexuality," and I was like, no, it's either if you're like 10%, you just get when we went to college, it was not like we weren't very open minded. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, yeah.
Like it was, but it was the 90s. It was like
I know it's crazy that it seems like the 90s weren't that long ago, but it actually was.
Yeah, Baywatch was on TV.
An insane amount, we're talking about
deal.
25 years ago.
Dude, we used to watch Singled Out in the lounge every afternoon.
Fucking Singled Out.
And I hung out with Chris Hardwick, and I was like, you know how crazy it is that I used to watch you every day in between classes with Jenny McCarthy. And I know Jenny McCarthy now too.
Yeah.
And Donnie Wahlberg. And you're like, how is this? What does this world happen?
And then, I had her poster and everything, and then she went anti-vaccine and whatnot, and I'm like, don't fucking do that. You're killing my boners, man. I don't want to talk about vaccines and autism. No.
Autism. Oh, that was the wrong one.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck, stop it. Keep that to yourself. It's like, what's her name? The girl from the Crying video with Aerosmith? What's her name?
Alicia Silverstone.
Thank you. She feeds her kid by spitting in its mouth the food. I'm like, fucking stop that.
I'd let her do that to me.
Yeah, I would.
I'd let her spit in my
I'd let her
mouth.
spit in my butthole. I don't care.
I'd let her do. Good God. I had an audition with her one time, and I just rescued a family out of a burning building. It was her. The audition was her and Danny DeVito, and
what the fuck?
And I was just so I was driving to the audition. I was driving down the street, and I saw a bush smoking, and I went, "That's odd." And then I stopped, and I kind of turned around and looked at it, and I was like, "Oh, that bush is on fire. Someone must have been smoking, thrown their cigarette out, caught the bush on fire." And so I started screaming. I didn't really save them, but I started screaming to everyone, banging on the door. It was a 4-apartment house, and I was banging on the door, and a family came out, and the whole thing caught on fire.
Oh my God!
And I thought I smelled like smoke, and I walked into the audition just firing hot, and I just sat down and I go, "Sorry if I smell like smoke. I just rescued a family."
Did they believe you?
No. Well, I sound like a fucking lunatic because I just walk in. "Sorry if I smell like smoke. I just rescued a family," and they're like, "We do not want to work with this guy for 5 years."
I just have this picture of Alicia Silverstone spitting food into her kid's mouth and then going, "Yeah, it's crazy. He said he saved him from a burning building," but that's not crazy.
I know this guy. I know this guy. Yeah. So I don't know what we were talking about, but yeah, I like Angelina's partied harder than I do.
Yeah.
Did. Like, there was just a bunch of guys that partied, like, Scott Bodenweber. Scooby, man, that guy, I kind of, like, looked at that guy as, like, he used to take his dick out all the time. Yeah. And I used to,
he and Courtney Scales.
Courtney Scales and Scott Bodenweber used to get down.
These guys would, all of a sudden, they'd run through the house, they'd tuck their dicks back, and run around the house and chase after the pledges.
The old dick tuck.
Yeah. We had some real homoerotic, do you remember Sloppy Biscuit?
No, I wasn't part of that one.
Hold on. Sloppy Biscuit. This will trigger.
Is this
your memory.
a person or something you did?
During Hell Week, they would blindfold all the pledges, put them in the lounge, backs against the wall, books and paddles behind your back, and then they'd say, "All right, gentlemen, in the middle of in the lounge is a biscuit. The last one to ejaculate on it has to eat it." You don't remember this?
No, but it never happened.
Ookie cookie or
No. What they do is they go. And inevitably, one or two people would actually go up and take their dicks out, and that's when they go, "Everyone, blindfolds off." And you'd see Hartley and Angelina just pounding it. Like, what? What happened?
So it never actually.
No one actually came on it. No one ate it.
I feel like
that's not the rules.
The part of the fun was watching your friends masturbate. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you guys fucking you broke the fucking rules.
Yeah, but there's certain urban legends that you sit back and you're like, all right, no one's eating a cum biscuit for real. Like, everybody be like, I don't want to be in this fraternity if I have to eat the cum biscuit.
What was the name of the chick that during Hell Week, the final end, they'd say we had to have sex with?
Cum biscuit was her name.
Remember that lady that, like, Backdoor Sally or something? Do you remember that? They go like, man.
There was this mythical woman that you guys had to have coitus with at the end of Hell Week?
I like how
I'll call Pete Kitwhalen on that.
Fraternities and 1920s gangsters all
have the same names. Two-Finger Sally.
They all just name each other off of what?
Rebecca 2 times.
Rebecca 2 times.
She says that because she'll sit on your dick with her asshole 2 times, and then she'll fart.
It's so funny when you look back at these the things that Pete Whalen now is a professor at Penn State.
I say that all the time, Bert, because my friends were crazy in high school, and everybody had crazy names,
horrible people.
And now, like, there's some of our school teachers and engineers, and I'm looking at them like, "You're a school teacher? I've seen you shit off a roof." Like, there's crazy shit that I've seen my friends do, and now like one's an engineer, like they're all professionals, and some gray hair, and like now they're old, but you still remember what they've done, and now they have kids and shit, and I'm like, this guy's an animal.
I'm the only one that hasn't grown up at all. Like, I literally,
I know,
I haven't grown up one bit. But the best part is like one of our really good friends, Jason Clark, going through a divorce. Is a while ago. I don't know how long ago that must have been.
3-4 years.
And so I just happened to be at the Fort Lauderdale Hard Rock, going to do stand up there.
Yeah.
And he just walks in and he sees my name on the thing and just texts me. He's like, "Are you at the Hard Rock?" And I wrote back, "I am. Are you?" And he goes, "I'm at the bar. Meet me in 5 minutes." Man, we partied like we were 18 years old. I mean, we got so freaking loose. You have no idea. Yeah. And I was like, "This is great." And he's like, you could just see it in his eyes. He's like, I gotta work tomorrow. And I was like, I just gotta go to sleep. I got a show at night. This is gonna be awesome.
So Clark would have never said I have to work tomorrow. You know that. He did not give a shit.
Clark, man, those were like I wish I could go back to that time of just not caring.
I've
being able to tap out.
Well, you have children. We both have children, and it changes fucking everything. It ruins everything. I love my daughter so much, but she's so sweet and so cute, and nothing compares to it. But there is a time, like just like you're saying, that I just want to sit with him. Like when we first started this podcast, like 8 years ago, I just want to sit like we used to do on Fridays and just hammer beers until literally I cannot stand. Well, I still kind of do that, but now I just walk home. You know what I mean? Like I used to like drive. I'm driving all around town.
I said that to someone. I said that to a young lady. I had her on my podcast, Kimberly Congdon, and I said something. I go, "Yeah, Florida was different." She goes, "Yeah, I remember She goes, "I remember when I moved to LA, I got hammered. I jumped in my car, and everyone's like, 'Dude, you're not allowed to drink and drive.'" She's like, "I'm from Florida. I'll be fine."
I do this every day.
So terrible.
She was like, "Are you kidding?" She goes, "Can you believe they don't drink and drive out here?"
That's the Florida I know.
It's terrible. Well, in Florida, you either drink and drive, or you send your kid who doesn't have a license to the Publix to get you beer. You know, like you put a 10-year-old in your truck.
Well, before Uber, there's not even cabs. Like up in Tallahassee, there's no fucking cabs.
Fucking cabs. Cabs? Are you shitting me?
We don't have
and
cabs.
Things are miles apart. Like there's cow pastures in between shit. You have to go
orange groves and shit.
It's not a
I
city.
used to work for a safe escort at Florida State. That's where you had to walk girls across campus.
We don't know about their hiring process.
You know who was it was me, Brent Bracken, and Chris Carter. Jeez, and the three of us, the worst people to walk. Just people, and the worst is when you'd get black chicks would call in and be like, "Yeah, I need a ride somewhere," and you're like, "Well, we walk," and they're like, "Yeah, you guys got a car though," and you immediately Bracken was like, "We're driving to fucking FAMU tonight," and so me and Bracken would have to drive a bunch of black chicks to FAMU, and then they go, "Can you wait for us?"
Okay, I want to go back to the shitting in the pizza box.
Yes.
So that was
our fraternity during that time. During that era, it was getting contentious at elections. So you'd have to have someone speak for you, and inevitably what they'd do is they'd take down the person you were going to go against, and then you'd speak for yourself, and then the next person would obviously throw up his rebuttal. Pete Whalen's calling. Pete Whalen's calling.
Good election story with Pete Whalen, by the way.
Pete, are you there?
Yeah.
You're on a podcast right now. Chris Gallagher's in here with me too, by the way.
What's up, guys?
Hey, do you remember during Hell Week, towards the end, we'd have to have condoms, quarters, and Vaseline, and then inevitably you'd say, "All right, time to use a condom," and there was a woman's name that we'd use. You go, "All right, now you're gonna have sex with like Backdoor Sally or something." Do you remember her name?
No, you forgot a can of dip.
What?
Can of dip. You're supposed to bring a can of dip.
Yes, I'd have a can of dip. God damn. Okay. All right. We're just telling election stories about the time I shit on a pizza box.
Oh, tell the time that I got Dave Mills unelected.
Yes.
What was that?
That's a great story, too.
Wait.
We can tell that after the pizza box
we're going to hop off.
Where's he at? Can he come in?
He's a teacher. He's a grown up.
Boo. He's outside his class.
I'll call you later, Pete.
His students are waiting.
Yeah. He gives them my worksheet.
He probably didn't even go outside his class. He just took it right there.
So it would get heated during these elections, and me, Brent Bracken, and John Dacre, and Ben Carter were in a band at the time.
What was the name of your band?
Save it. Ready?
All right.
We had another guy in our band who was really good. He was a transfer, and he went to, I think, Auburn or FIU.
I thought he was at University of North Florida, wasn't he?
Something
Didn't he come
like
over
that.
From there?
He was a nice guy.
Are you an F guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Really nice guy. We gave him a nickname. Do you remember his nickname?
Yes, the other guy. The other guy
By the
gave
way,
us the big fuck you later on. When
this story checks out. I'm so glad you're here right now, because this guy's denied that he knows me.
Come on.
So we get.
I have a feeling this is huge, and we're sitting we're literally teetering on the cliff.
So we have our band, and the guy's so good that Bracken and I realize he's going to realize we suck. We got to kick him out.
What are you playing, if you don't mind me?
Frontman.
What else would he do?
God.
Bracken's playing bass, doesn't know how to play bass. Daker's guitar. Ben Carter's an amazing drummer, and we watch this guy just connect with Daker and Ben Carter so quickly.
And this
Bracken,
is the other guy.
The other guy. And so we kick him out of our band. He was like, I'm the best guy in the fucking band. And we're like, well, you're the best guy not in the band now. Because you're out. And he was like, I'm going to start a band 10 times better than your band, and you'll see. And we're like, good luck. And he started a band called
Creed.
No shit. I remember that in your book.
Yeah. And I've and run into him. Ask him. He does not remember me. He doesn't remember being in a band. He doesn't remember any of it. I go. My buddy my Calta was like, ran into him and said, "Do you know Bert Kreischer?" And he goes, "I've never heard of the guy." Actually, you know what he said? He goes, "The comedian." Like, he knew me as a comedian more than the guy that gave him his fucking nickname.
You know why this guy doesn't want to know any of us? Because we were such dicks to him.
Do you think he knows?
You know why he was called the other guy? Because there were two guys who transferred in that year, and one of them was really cool and hung around the house all the time, and we gave him like a nickname, and then we're like, okay, what about this other guy? And we're like, no, he's the fucking other guy. That's what he was.
He just called him the other guy.
So the other guy's got the last laugh, you know? He said, fuck you.
Yeah.
And he's got Alter Bridge now. Yeah. He's a big shit now.
Yeah. I'd love to listen to Alter Bridge. Can't wait to get that album.
I like how he said, you guys are adults.
He's your mortal enemy now.
And he still was like, I don't remember him. But in the back of his mind, you know he does. And he hates your
I
guts.
fucking know he does. Let me tell you something. I had a TV show. I was a host of a TV show, a late night talk show for like 2 years. And I called up Smitty, who worked the door at Floyd's, who Floyd's ended up representing. Smitty was an SAE. They ended up. So I called Smitty. I go, hey, man, can you get Tremonti on my show? They're blowing up. And have him come on, and we'll talk. I'll tell the story. I'll look like a fool. He'll look like a king.
Yeah, it's funny.
Well, it's a funny story. He's like, yeah, he doesn't want to do it. I was like, oh, come on. I go, it's just tell him it's me. It'll be fun. And he was like, yeah, man, he's not cool with it. He doesn't want to do it. I was like, what a dick.
It's so funny because like
full circle.
Fucking can't wait till I'm bigger than they are. I'm close. I'll never get to as big, because I told this story one time to Will Smith, and I remember Will Smith laughing hysterically, and I was like, I didn't know that Creed had blown up. I didn't know that they were big. And he was like, they're Billboard Artist of the Year right now. And I was like, are you shitting me?
Yeah,
and he was like, you kicked out arguably the best guitarist working in the business right now. But yeah, so anyway, back to the shitting on a pizza box. So
nice
Daker, me, and Bracken and Ben are sitting over in the side, and we're in a band. We don't care about the elections. None of us want to be part of that office stuff. But Josh Young was running unattested. No one was running against him. And the year before, someone had run, and I ran against them, and I just got up naked and gave a speech naked. And so Bracken goes, you got to go up and do the naked speech. And I'd already done it. I was like, I can't, and I got to shit. If I go up there, I'm going to shit all over the place. And Daker's like, that's a genius idea. And I was like, what? And Bracken's like, come on, I'll go out. It wasn't even a pizza box. Do you remember what it was for real?
I thought it was a pizza box.
No, it was a Pi-Fi sign-up list. And we changed it to pizza box because we didn't want Pi-Fi to think we were shitting on Pi-Fis. It was a date, like a sign-up thing. And
we just really honorable of you to
yeah.
But it was a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, it was
that's
a
how
piece of
sophisticated
cardboard,
our signs were.
Yeah.
Probably written on a pizza box. And so we pulled it. Bracken comes out, and he's like, and I'm in the hallway with Daker. I'm totally naked. I think I had a tie on. And I go, and Bracken's like, guys, Bert's not being taken. No one's taking Bert seriously. Every time he gives these, you guys don't listen to what he's saying. But he would be a great worthy keeper of the annals or whatever I had to do.
Yeah.
And he goes, so just hear him out. And so I walked out. It's silent. I walk out. I'm naked. Everyone's like, oh, the naked thing again. And I turn around. This is the most interesting part of the story, is the small details. There was a table at the front of the room that all our presidents and everyone sat at for our chapter meetings. So there was a table. So I had to walk and stand in front of the table. So as I walked in front of them, they see my ass. And everyone laughs. And then I turn to face them, and I squat. But they don't see me shitting. They just see me, like, focusing on their faces, like I'm like listening real hard. Like, and I remember Charlie Erdman. I want to say it was Charlie. Charlie Erdman was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I started pissing, because when you go number 2, you also go 1. And I started pissing on their feet. And they're like, why are you pissing on her feet? Wait, and then you just heard everyone go, oh my God! Literally, people were diving out of the windows in our lounge, diving out of the windows, and it smelled horrible and gagging. And then I walk out, and then Charlie's like, "You've got to clean that up, man. Like no one's cleaning that up." I pulled it outside. I left it outside. I come back in. And I'm standing now next to Josh, totally naked still. And Josh had already given his speech. And Charlie's like, "This is ridiculous." And he leaned over and he's like, "Are you seriously running?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "I mean, no one's voted for Josh." And he goes, "It's like a landslide. Like everyone voted for you." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm running, I guess." And he goes, "But Bert wins by a landslide." And then Josh goes, "That's bullshit." And then someone in the back goes, "No, it's Bert shit."